Chapter 296, Her 2. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 296, Her 2. Why? Didn't he say he's going to go catch Xiao Huiyo? Was he unable to objectify himself? Or does she track me automatically, regardless of such things? Cut off my leg. If she followed me here, cutting off one leg would be useless. Should I fight? How in the world did she follow me all the way here? My mind is entangled with countless thoughts and confusion. And before I know it, we arrive at the place where John Myung-hoon's returning lightning strike had started. We reach the entrance to a city of various races, where the teleportation array to the human race Grand Alliance is located. You, Hook. It's only then that I can properly grasp her identity. I see. It's not she who followed me. Only her left arm. Her left arm had detached itself and followed me by grabbing onto my leg. With a sigh of relief, I grab her left arm that's clinging to my leg. What is that? That's her left arm? John Myung-hoon looks puzzled, while Kim Yun's face turns pale. I wipe the cold sweat from my brow and shake my head. It's a part of the strongest puppet possessed by the Mad Lord. There's no need to worry. It's not for attack, not even for tracking. Wawoom. As I operate the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon, I connect to her arm, which contains the sane will of the Mad Lord. I see. It's teaching material for his disciple. Though separated by distance and unable to teach anymore, the briefly sane Mad Lord wanted to teach his disciple even just a little. Within her left arm, in that brief period of time, is not only knowledge about the entirety of the wonderfully mysterious fortress, but also various operating methods of the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon and manipulation methods for the puppets. And finally, it even hints at how to activate Yun's play. TSDS. I read the consciousness of the Mad Lord contained within her left arm. Gradually, as if entranced, I read his message. My disciple. Listen. Suddenly, I see the illusion of an old man sitting in front of me. I already know that you will resent me. You will probably hate me to the core. You might not even consider me your master. All I can say to you is that I am sorry. However, despite everything, there is something I must achieve with your power. The emotion of remorse exudes from the Mad Lord's message. I will not ask for the extravagant favor of forgiveness. Instead, use me, just as I use you. Use the knowledge I have sent you to grow and become as strong as possible. From what I have seen, you also have desires, a loved one. He looks my way with a sorrowful expression and smiles. In the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon activated to the extreme, I can somehow see a scene behind him. It's an old tree. No, it's a stark, bare tree that had lost all its leaves and flowers on a cold winter day. And on that tree, countless pink strings are hanging. Just what does this scene possibly mean? I don't know the details. Only that somehow, it seems to be related to the next stage of the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon. And in this wonderfully mysterious and beautiful world, I hope you find what you desire. TSDS. For a moment, I can't take my eyes off that wonderfully mysterious and beautiful scene. And then suddenly, my startled body shivers. It's a mysterious feeling. This is the message the Mad Lord left in her left arm. And, as I look at that message, I have a sudden realization. The enlightenment the Mad Lord had placed in the left arm has awakened my mind. I see, there definitely is a problem with my mind right now. Only then do I realize that the anxiety I felt from Xiao Li wasn't just an overreaction. If it hadn't been for the awakening induced by the Mad Lord's enlightenment, I might have died and continued on without ever recognizing it. Thank you, Elder Zhou Yan. After silently expressing my gratitude to the Mad Lord in my heart, I look at Kim Yun. Yuna, try operating the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon while holding this left arm. Yes. She obediently follows my instructions. As her wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon connects with her left arm, she too appears to have received the Mad Lord's message. She chews her lips, remaining silent for a while. Her emotions are evidently complex. The Mad Lord, who had modified and used her almost to the point of torture. Had I come to rescue her a bit later, her mind might have been severely affected. However, independent of the Mad Lord, the message left by the person Zhou Yun, the wonderfully mysterious enlightenment contained within that message, is enough to stir a person's heart. Kim Yun bites her lips for a while, then turns her head. Are we staying here? No. We'll take the teleportation array here to the human race territory. Then please, let's go there. I want to move for now. All right. John Myung-hoon, Kim Yun, and I leave the place and return to the human race Grand Alliance. What a relief. I sigh with relief and look at the sweat on my hands. When the main body was captured, I could do nothing but sweat and watch over the main body. Fortunately, it seems that I had escaped safely from the Mad Lord, and through the Mad Lord's wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon, I had also realized there's something amiss with the mind. But for some reason, I still feel a lingering sense of unease. Is it simply a mental abnormality? What the main body did was discover the anomaly in the mind, not cure it. I need to find a solution somehow. I need to continue keeping an eye on it. Deciding so, I arrive at Black Ghost Valley to find the Ghost Soul Hall. Since the main halls of Black Ghost Valley are all inside the Nether Crossing ship, I just need to go to the Nether Crossing ship. I enter the Nether Crossing ship and find the Ghost Soul Hall inside. Bye yo. You haven't forgotten my instructions, have you? No. I'll just ask a few things and leave right away. Naturally, with my status in cultivation, I can't immediately meet Kang Min-hee. However, with Bayul, a ghost king who was a heavenly being Grand Elder, there's a good chance that a meeting request with her would be accepted. Duck duck. I knock on the door to the office of the Deputy Hall Master of the Ghost Soul Hall. Shortly after, a dark ghost pokes its head out from above the door. What business do you have? Then Bayul steps out of my body and speaks. I have come to meet Ghost Soul Hall's Deputy Hall Master Kang Min-hee. Open the door. Yes, Elder. The gatekeeper ghost immediately bows its head upon seeing the Ghost King Bayul and quickly withdraws back inside. Creak. I hide my tense emotions and step inside. SSSSS. The Vice Hall Master's office is cold. It isn't just the chill of the 5 elements attribute, but a bone-chilling coldness stemming from death itself that stirs my soul. Kang Min-hee's office is quite dark, and blue will-o'-the-wisps looking things are flying around. And there, Kang Min-hee is drawing some design on the floor with dye, paying no attention to me. Seeing her, I suddenly think that she hasn't changed at all from before. If there was work in people, work always came first. Her face, like when she had worked several nights before coming to Ascension Path, is haggard and weary-looking. As I look at her, pondering how to start the conversation, I open my mouth. Respected Lady Kang, the elder whom I serve has something to discuss with you. At that, Bayul bursts forth from my body with a cough. Ahem. Ghost Soul Hall Vice Hall Master Grand Elder Kang. This is the first time we meet. I am Ghost King Bayul of the Cursed Lineage. With Bayul's introduction, Kang Min-hee finally stops drawing her design and looks our way. SSSSS. I feel the atmosphere in the room drop even further under her gaze. What brings you here, Senior Ghost King? Kang Min-hee's voice is soft and lacks strength. To an ordinary person, it might just seem like a quiet voice. However, as soon as Bayul hears Kang Min-hee's voice, his ghostly body trembles as if it will collapse, shivering uncontrollably. HMHM. It's nothing serious. What is this? I look around with nether perception, startled. As soon as she spoke, the nether perception itself was shaken, and cracks began to appear and shrink in the outer boundary of the netherworld as if they had come to life. Though she doesn't directly harbor death in her soul like I do, I directly feel overwhelmingly inferior to her in terms of commanding death. This Seoli fellow here has recently come to Black Ghost Valley. Well, since Senior Ghost King is with him, that would be expected. He is also an ascender. Elder Hyogwak has also taken note of his potential. I see. So, the thing is, can you allow this fellow to enter the Ghost Soul Hall? At this, Kang Min-hee looks at me with an expressionless face. How many merit points you have? I answer awkwardly. As of yet, none. I'm in the middle of a mission, but upon completion, I will receive 400 points. Is that so? Accumulate 1,000 points and come back. Or reach the Heavenly Being stage, and I will consider giving you a position. At that, Bayul coughs again and speaks. Ahem, while the merit point system is certainly important, you can see this young man, can't you? This fellow has tremendous talent for the Ghost Path method, and, at least consider my face a bit. Senior. SSSSSSSS. Kang Min-hee looks at Bayul with an expressionless face. Faint ghost fire is burning in her eyes. If you continue to speak this way, I will report to the Corpse Soul Hall and proceed with enforcement. Please do not create problems with things not permitted by the sect rules. Under Kang Min-hee's stern gaze, Bayul begins to tremble as if his spirit is about to collapse. I smirk to myself seeing this. That personality is still the same. Honestly, I'm a bit surprised. A year and a half before coming to Ascension Path, due to a certain incident that occurred back then, she became very obsessed with rules. Should I call it FM? Originally, I was the one who adhered more to FM, while she tended to disregard it. If you have nothing more to say, please leave. You are being a disturbance. She gestures us away. A sinister ghost wind blows, pushing us out. But instead of leaving, I contain Bayul within me and take a step forward. Greetings, Grand Elder Kang. I am Seoli, a recent soul disciple of Black Ghost Valley. What? She looks at me as if the whole world is a bother to her. You're a person that's hard to tell if you're human or ghost. You're so dark that your original face is barely visible. You do have excellent talent for the Ghost Path, but that doesn't mean I'll give you special treatment. Leave. Although the Ghost King whom I serve hoped for that, I have come to inquire about a different matter with you, Grand Elder. What is it? Before I fell in Ascension Path, I recall an event from a year and a half ago. Grand Elder Kang, you are in charge of communications with the main branch at the Nether Ghost Realm, correct? Correct. A year and a half ago, she made a significant mistake in a major project and ended up being severely reprimanded. I have one question. The Grand Elder in front of me right now, is this your main body? No. This is an avatar. The main body is located in a side path, absorbing energy flowing from the Nether Ghost Realm to stabilize their cultivation. Stabilizing their cultivation? The main body has reached the 4-axis stage. Oh, thinking about it, this is confidential. Kang Min-hee presses her temples as if she's having a headache. Well, it'll become known once I leave seclusion in the side path anyway. Still, just to be safe, don't go around talking about it. Yes. But it's strange. Have we met somewhere before? I don't think so. Why do you ask? She pauses to look at me and then gets up from near the design, flopping down into a chair beside it. Well, it's strange talking about such confidential things to someone I'm meeting for the first time. Technically, even discussing the side path should be off limits. Never mind. You've broken my concentration now. Might as well take a break since it's come to this. Snap. She snaps her fingers, and the eerie will-o'-the-wisps light up brightly, illuminating the room. If there's something you want to ask, go ahead. I look at her who hasn't changed and ask my question. I would like to inquire about the Nether Ghost Realm itself. Are you interested in the main sect? Yes. A year and a half before falling to Ascension Path, the mistake she made led to a disciplinary committee meeting, and although she wasn't severely punished, she was deeply shaken by the experience. And the next week, on the day of a company dinner following the disciplinary committee meeting, we, who had dated and then broken up in the early days of our employment, decided to get back together that very day. Chapter 297, Her 3. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 297, Her 3. I reminisce about the past while conversing with her as Seoli. The second time was different from before. I had been the one to ask her out. Kang Min-hee accepted too. It was on the third evening since we got back together. After work hours, I was dumped by Kang Min-hee. Just 3 days in. I snuffed out my cigarette in the smoking area and looked back. The sunset was almost over, and it was getting dim. Are you okay now? Yeah, didn't I tell you? Thanks to you. I've had enough consolation for 3 days. I smirked. In various ways, we had become evil friends, frenemies. She lit another cigarette. Go now. Smoke moderately, man. Hey, you're just an ex now. Just scram. Shoo. Probably no one else breaks up after just 3 days of dating. I chuckled at this bizarre situation. During our first relationship, she was the one to initiate, and I the one to end it. But somehow, it was the opposite this time. What dating? It was more like I received some fancy psychotherapy. I'll transfer the therapy fee to your account later. You always have to say it like, what? Feeling regretful now that you're letting me go? Enough. I'm leaving. I opened the door of the smoking area. Kang Min-hee's voice followed from behind. Now that my therapy is done, take care of your junior, you idiot. It's suffocating to watch. Who? Joe. Kim Yun, you idiot. Joe is a guy. Why would you care about him? She's been finding nice lunch spots for you. Not because she's Michelin, but because she wants to have lunch with you. But we all eat together during company dinners. Why should I pay special attention to Yun? Is she having a hard time lately? Fuck. This stupid bastard. Just get lost. I'm about to explode. See you tomorrow, team leader CEO. I waved her, who's talking nonsense, off and turned around. Sure, see you tomorrow, Deputy Kang. That day was the last time we were close. After that, we truly became not on good terms as colleagues. Thinking back, I was indeed an idiot then. I had thought Kang Min-hee was joking about Kim Yun. Back then, Kim Yun was just a cute junior to me. Anyway, after that day, my relationship with Kang Min-hee became quite strange. Publicly, we were in a very bad relationship. But privately, although we verbally said we disliked each other, it was hard to truly hate each other. Yes, we had become what you would call evil friends. However, after becoming evil friends from enemies, it didn't feel as suffocatingly awkward and uncomfortable as before. Well, that's about all the information I have on the Nether Ghost Realm's main branch. I don't have much information about the Nether Ghost Realm itself. But interestingly, when Elder Hyogwak reported my innate qualities to the main branch, they said do not come to the Nether Ghost Realm, which is strange. That is peculiar. With the talent Grand Elder Kang possesses, shouldn't the Nether Ghost Realm be more suitable? That's what I thought. But I've heard, from the main branch of the Nether Ghost Realm, that a higher being is always watching over, so it could be dangerous for me to go there. Higher beings. I recall the information Seo Huiol had given me in my previous life. The Nether Ghost Realm is always under the watchful eyes of those at the entering Nirvana stage. It was said that there is a shortcut to the true immortal realm in the Nether Ghost Realm, and for that reason, those at the entering Nirvana stage always keep an eye on the Nether Ghost Realm from the astral realm. Certainly, if that's the case, it could indeed be dangerous for Kang Min-hee to go there. Kang Min-hee pauses and fumbles around her. Click. Soon after, she picks up a long pipe from a nearby table. Light. HSSSS. Then, the will-o'-the-wisp in the room moves and attaches a ghost fire to the end of her pipe. Always smoking in private spaces and areas where she doesn't have to worry about others, some things never change. It's my room, so I'll smoke. Let me know if it bothers you. Haha, it's something Grand Elder wants to do. So how can I possibly object? At my reply, Kang Min-hee pauses to look at me. You, that thing on your face. It's a spell, right? Release it for a moment. Ah yes. I release the Black Devil Mask spell that has been covering my face. Yuan Yu's beauty is then revealed before Kang Min-hee. Oh, you look really pretty. But your expression is totally different. Why is that? Yes. Never mind. You just remind me a bit of someone I used to know. Even the way you indirectly say you dislike something is exactly the same. Even as she speaks, Kang Min doesn't put out her pipe, but just holds it in her mouth. Blue smoke billows from her mouth. It seems she is using quite a refined spiritual herb as tobacco. If she knows I don't like it, can't she just stop for a bit? Although it doesn't have carcinogens like those on Earth, she often smoked in places like inside cars or indoors as long as it didn't harm others. Unlike me who believed cigarettes should only be smoked in designated smoking areas. Even during the 3 weeks we dated, she smoked in her car when we went driving, saying she doesn't consider me a stranger, which nearly killed me with discomfort. It was her car, but that was when I confirmed that she and I really didn't match. I still feel quite emotional. It's been over 2,000 years, yet. The thought that I didn't get along with Kang Min-hee is vividly recalled. Seoli was it? Yes. You have such a strong aura of death around you that I can't quite grasp what your soul looks like. But with your qualities, you should easily reach the heavenly being stage. You'll probably catch up to my avatar in no time. Thank you. With the right support and some good fortune or fate, you might even reach the 4-axis stage within 500 years. Anyway, let's try to get along well from now on. Sorry that the Ghost Soul Hall didn't accept you. It's just our policy, please understand. Yes, of course. I understand. Kang Min-hee smiles and pats my shoulder. Strangely, her touch on my shoulder doesn't stir any strong emotions. Have all your questions been answered? You can go now. I bid farewell to Kang Min-hee and leave her office in the Ghost Soul Hall. Through her, I am able to understand one thing. Indeed, nothing has changed since 100 years ago. Communicating through John Myung-hoon will only be the worst-case option. I really did well to bring Yun along. Kim Yun is currently registering in Temporal Fate Island and is undergoing various investigations regarding the Mad Lord. I waited on Temporal Fate Island, thinking, if John Myung-hoon and I were to contact her now, we would probably end up swearing at each other and hanging up. Even if we were to meet by the Grand Cultivator's command, she would smile outwardly, but privately, she'd grow even further apart. Still, Yun was a junior beloved by everyone in her department, so Kang Min-hee would not likely be stern with her. After some time, Kim Yun emerges from Temporal Fate Island. Is everything settled? Yes. Reading her intent, I can tell she has something she wants to do. What are your plans moving forward? After a moment of silence, Kim Yun pulls out her left arm. Hyun Appa, you too. I don't know how, but you're learning the wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon. Yes, I came across it by fate. If so, you must have seen the enlightenment contained in this left arm, right? That's right. She looks at me, and I'm momentarily startled by her gaze. Her eyes are burning with a zeal I have never seen before. I will find out. Squeeze. Gripping her left arm, Kim Yun's eyes blaze even more with determination. The ultimate teachings of the wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon left by the Mad Lord. What exactly does that scene signify? What did he gain, and what did he lose to become such a madman? What could it be? It's a resolve I have never seen in my past lives. Why has she changed from her previous selves? As I ponder, I quickly realize the reason. This life's Kim Yun. Although I guided her, she reached the pinnacle stage through her own strength. What is martial arts? There are many definitions, but one of them is certainly making oneself stronger. A technique and a study of self-discipline. That is what martial arts is. She rose to the pinnacle through her own power. It doesn't just mean she became a tiny bit stronger. It required numerous acts of self-conquest, overcoming one's own limits. Of course, if that was all, she might have still gone mad. However, by connecting with her and endlessly conversing in her dreams, I prevented her from being tainted by the Mad Lord's madness. In this life, Kim Yun is in her most perfect state, discovering the truth about the Mad Lord, and after uncovering it, Kim Yun declares with firm resolve in front of me, I will seek revenge. Revenge. Yes, the greatest revenge I can take on him. Although Kim Yun speaks of revenge, her intent appears incredibly calm and devoid of malice. I nod. If she has decided something about the Mad Lord, it isn't my place to question her attitude. Returning to Heavenly Cauldron Mountain on Heavenly Human Island, the Grand Cultivators greet me. Kim Yun, along with John Myung-hoon and Hong Fan, has a cave residence near Heavenly Cauldron Mountain to cultivate and train. However, Hong Fan is in the Earth Tribe territory, and John Myung-hoon is at the ruins of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect almost daily, so the three rarely meet. Now, I just need to make contact with Kang Min-hee through Kim Yun. Unexpectedly, a Grand Cultivator meeting is suddenly called. I am summoned to the summit of Heavenly Cauldron Mountain. There, the projections of 8 Grand Cultivators are present. Wawoom. Among them are the projections of Han Won from the Heaven-Earth Palace and the secretive Tae-yeol-jon. This is an indication of a matter of grave importance, critical enough to involve Han Won, who is recuperating in Heaven-Earth Palace, and thus makes it hard to send a projection, and Tae-yeol-jon, who is shrouded in secrecy and mystery. I ignore the peculiar gaze that Han Won's projection casts at me and take my seat. Let's begin the Grand Cultivators meeting. Thank you all for gathering. Cultivator Seo and Cultivator Han were out, so they might not know, but a report came in recently that we absolutely cannot ignore. The Grand Alliance leader, Jun Jae, starts the meeting with a grave tone. Specifically, the information that Hyen Eum, the Black Dragon King of the Black Dragon race, a former ally of the human race, has betrayed us. What the? The meeting hall is stirred. Why Ryong-seon sighs deeply. Han Won expressionlessly taps his fingers against his crossed arms. Then, Tae-yeol-jon, who had been silent, speaks up. Her projection is blurry and difficult to discern compared to the other Grand Cultivators. Regardless, I can tell she is a woman by her voice. Should we punish him as a warning? Let's discuss that here. First, let me summarize the situation. A few days ago, we received a report that the entrance to the True Devil Realm had collapsed. The 4-axis stage cultivators guarding the entrance reported that a dragon named Seo Huiol, claiming to act under the orders of the Black Dragon King, caused the collapse. It seems this Grand Cultivator meeting is due to the incident I had initiated. Upon questioning the Earth Tribe, it turns out that Seo Huiol is Grand Prince of the Sea Dragon Tribe and had recently gone missing. Why Ryong-seon was dispatched to investigate the entrance to the True Devil Realm, and why Su used a soul-searching method to read the memories of those 4-axis stage cultivators. Information from a spy within the Earth Tribe confirmed that the attacker looked exactly like Seo Huiol, and why Ryong-seon found significant residues of demonic power and immortal beast strength near the entrance. Jun Jae's statement is continued by the chief military strategist, Wai Su. The recently missing Seo Huiol, the mysterious attacker of the True Devil Realm entrance, is of the Sea Dragon Tribe, a branch of the Black Dragon Tribe. The Black Dragon King was pointed out as being behind it, as well as the subordinate sect of the Black Dragon King, Mystical Scaled Fish Commanding Sect, which is currently completing some kind of curse commissioned by the Earth Tribe. Considering all these factors, the likelihood that the current Black Dragon King, Hyen Eum, will betray us is high. Grand Cultivator Young Yun cautiously asks, could it be possible that the person claiming to be Seo Huiol isn't actually him? Perhaps an internal faction within the Earth Tribe impersonated him to sabotage. Based on the memories recovered through my soul-searching technique, Seo Huiol did reveal his name and backers, but tried to destroy the evidence immediately afterward. Luckily, he was poisoned by the 4-axis stage cultivators and had to release their souls. So, while we cannot dismiss the possibility of a framing, it is also likely it was indeed Seo Huiol himself. At Wai Su's words, the expressions of the assembled Grand Cultivators darken. Heejin sighs. Black Dragon King. Why would someone of his extraordinary combat ability among those at the integration stage choose such a time to act? At that moment, Han Won speaks harshly, arms crossed. We should have killed him back then. You all debating his utility and stopping me led to the situation becoming this complicated. It seems that Han Won had previously fought with the Black Dragon King and had nearly managed to kill him. Young Yun recalls something about that incident. I've heard about it too. Was it 43,000 years ago? Cultivator Han and his fiancée joined forces to miraculously gain the upper hand against the Black Dragon King, and tremendously. At this, Han Won suddenly grows stern and glares at Young Yun. From Han Won's projection, I can see a tremendous surge of red intent. The siblings Wai Ryong-seon and Wai Su simultaneously speak to Young Yun as if they have a headache. Cultivator Young, have you forgotten that it's taboo to mention her in front of Cultivator Han? At this, Young Yun coughs and averts his gaze. Ahem. Sorry, I've been so busy lately, I must have forgotten. However, Han Won growls and snaps at Young Yun. How could you forget? How? No, Cultivator Honorable, my apologies. I misspoke. Busy? Are you saying you have more duties than I, the Lord of Heaven-Earth Palace? Maybe you'd remember if your eyes were gouged out like mine. Kagugugu. Terrified by the killing intent emanating from Han Won's projection, Young Yun begins to tremble, and Jun-jae grimaces and coughs. But Han-won does not lessen his intensity even under Jun-jae's gaze. That's when it happens. Cultivator. Honorable. With a clear voice, Tae-yeol-jan speaks to Han-won. Suddenly, she is close to Han-won's projection. Flinch. And then, I feel a chill run down my spine. Wait. The one named Tae-yeol-jan. Let's calm your anger. Cultivator Young is still a young cultivator, only 8,000 years old, so please be understanding. At her words, Han-won appears to flinch, then glares at Young Yun once more before suppressing his anger. It seems he unconsciously dreads her. Seeing this, Jun-jae speaks to Tae-yeol-jan. Don't pressure Cultivator Han too much, Daoist Tae. It was a deeply painful incident for him. And Cultivator Young, please be careful in the future too, as there was such an incident involving Daoist Han at the Grand Cultivator meeting a few hundred years ago. Jun-jae seems to be watching Han-won's reactions. Reading his intent, it seems he is more concerned about the something related to Han-won rather than Han-won himself. Tae-yeol-jan then returns to her place. I stare at Tae-yeol-jan for a long while, and sensing my gaze, she briefly looks my way, then turns her head with a surprised expression in her eyes. Jun-jae clears his throat and steers the conversation back. So, let's discuss what should be done about the betrayal of the Black Dragon King, Han-eum. At the Grand Cultivator meeting, opinions were divided between those advocating for immediate retribution against Black Dragon King Han-eum and those suggesting waiting to see how things unfold. Eventually, it was decided to capture Seo Huiol and use soul-searching techniques to understand what had happened, while also issuing a strong condemnation towards the Black Dragon tribe and the Black Dragon King. If the Black Dragon tribe does not offer any justification and openly confirms the betrayal, then it was agreed that Tae-yeol-jan would go to punish the Black Dragon King, after which the Grand Cultivator meeting was concluded. Then, as discussed, Cultivator Y will convey our message to Han-eum. With that, today's Grand Cultivator meeting is adjourned. The projections gathered at the summit of Heavenly Cauldron Mountain disappear. Han-won glances at me briefly before nearly vanishing at the end, and Tae-yeol-jan struggles with handling her ill-defined projection. Daoist Tae, are you having trouble managing your projection? Oh, Cultivator Seo. Please understand. The technique of sending projections or clones isn't my specialty, and I always get confused about how to dispel them. I see. Daoist Tae, may I ask you something? At my question, she smiles. I had a feeling you'd ask that. Everyone was shocked when I first joined the Grand Cultivator meeting, and later, when Cultivator Young first became a Grand Cultivator, he was shocked to learn my true identity. You might be feeling the same, Cultivator Seo? No. Perhaps it's a bit different for you since you're like me. I sigh softly at her words. Daoist Tae, are you indeed from the Heart Tribe? She is from the Heart Tribe, and she reached the first step before the throne that's equivalent to the integration stage at that. Her subsequent words make me realize that Tae-yeol-jan is more extraordinary than I had thought. Yes, I lack talent in the path of cultivation, being only at the core formation stage, but I accidentally entered the way of the Heart Tribe and was mentored by the esteemed one, from whom I inherited the fighting spirit, finally reaching this realm. Tae-yeol-jan, smiling through her avatar, says, as this is our first meeting, let me properly introduce myself. My name is Tae-yeol-jan. I am one of the 23 direct disciples of Heaven Collapsing Esteemed One. Wawoom. I see a vision where the chilling sharp energy emanating from the clone seems to slice through my throat. Srung. The clone grasps the void, and heaven and earth's spiritual energy coalesces to form a willow leaf saber. Lierdao. Liadeo. Since we've met as fellow Heart Tribe members, there's something we ought to do, right? Sweating from the formidable killing intent, I simultaneously feel a dizzying thrill. It would be an honor. Please advise. Earth Tribe True Dragon Alliance. Black Dragon King's cave residence. Inside, Han-eum frowns as he receives reports from his subordinates. Why has everything become so complicated? Where has Seo Huiol gone now? And why did he destroy the entrance to the true devil realm using my name? He clutches his throbbing head and scolds his subordinate. Damn it. Why did it turn out like this? The plan has gone awry. After sitting alone in contemplation for a while, Han-eum opens and then closes his eyes. He hardens his expression, gets up from his seat, and heads down to the underground of his cave residence. It seems, I need to communicate with the main body. As he descends into the underground, the cave residence of the Black Dragon King falls silent. It stays quiet for an hour or two. Quong. Until a strange beam of light that comes flying from somewhere hits Han-eum's cave residence before anything else. Clink, 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 clink. A bizarre fortress is flying towards the Black Dragon King, Han-eum's cave residence. Chapter 298, Taenghwa, Jinhua. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 298, Taenghwa, Jinhua. Srung. The willow leaf blade stirs. Junior, how many moves would be appropriate for you? She asks. After all, since it's only a clone, engaging in a prolonged battle would overwhelmingly disadvantage her. Thus, a short bout to gauge each other's capabilities is best. After a moment's consideration, I reply. 10 moves. Wouldn't that be suitable? 10 moves? Are you sure you can handle that? What? 10 moves might be enough to kill Junior. Huh. Her wildly overconfident words involuntarily make me chuckle. Indeed, isn't this the confidence one would expect from someone at the integration level of the Heart Tribe? Let's see you try. Fine if you wish. Wawoom. Her willow leaf blade cleaves through the void. It's familiar. It's exactly like the style of Jangik. It seems no exaggeration to say she is his disciple. She is attempting to demonstrate the same level of precision that borders on insanity. Exactly like his. But different. Heaven Tribe's foresight. Earth Tribe's spiritual energy tracking. Heart Tribe's intent. Kim Young-hoon's perception and the Ghost King's nether perception. Only by using all these senses can I barely follow the trajectory of the fighting spirit she is about to unleash. And by following that trajectory, I understand. Hers is the same as Jangik's, but different. Ting. In the frozen world, her words seem to echo. Heart language, clearer and more ringing than any I'd ever heard before. You've seen fighting spirit before, haven't you? From Master. I will not deny it. She notices that I am familiarly tracking her trajectory while preparing a counter-move, and her eyes light up with recognition. Lines connected. Following the trajectory of her willow leaf blade, spiritual veins connect like blood vessels. But unlike Jangik's 4 treasures annihilating heaven's blade, Taeyeoljan's willow leaf blade doesn't draw in the surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy even as it connects these spiritual veins. The magnitude of the energy neither amplifies nor increases. Yet, somehow, I have a dreadful premonition that her decisive move will be far more sinister and terrible than anything Jangik had shown. If I can't properly block it, at the very least my body will be torn to shreds. Overwhelming power. A force beyond mere strength, a dominating force. Originally, I had intended to compete only in pure martial skills. But in the next moment, I discard such leisurely thoughts and immediately summon the 3 great ultimates. At the same time, I take the initial stance of the Severing Mountain swordsmanship. This is because of the sense of crisis that if I don't counter the attack, my upper body will simply disappear. And then, she begins her attack. Heart and Heaven Taenghwa painting, Shintan Junguatu. 7 Brilliance Kings, Chi Wawang. The first Brilliance, Golden Body Heavenly King, Di-Hwa, Jinsen Taenghwa. Shiver. In an instant, the trajectory of her willow leaf blade that she created. The spiritual veins within that trajectory suddenly shine brightly in gold. That's. The next moment, she soars toward me like a golden pong, dancing in flight. Compared to Kim Young-hoon's insane speed, the strike is considerably slower. Yet, despite knowing it's slow, I find it impossible to dodge. Quadaduk. Kuhuk. I spit out blood violently, suddenly realizing I have suffered burns all over my body. What is this? Kugagugugu Kwang. Behind me, the shockwave belatedly erupts. I quickly assess my surroundings. Where is this? This is crazy. This place is Temporal Fate Island. With one strike from Taeyeoljan, I was flung from the central area of the human race territory on Heavenly Cauldron Mountain to the outermost Temporal Fate Island. Kugagugugu. The atmosphere is torn apart, and the area rumbles with shockwaves. Though my skin burns regenerated quickly, it feels like my internal organs are thoroughly shaken. Considering that Han Won's attacks caused severe external injuries, but hardly any internal ones, Taeyeoljan's is the exact opposite. Contrary to Han Won, there is almost no visible external injuries, but the accumulated internal damage is horrendous. It's coming. I immediately prepare my stance and ready for a counterattack against the killing intent coming from Heavenly Cauldron Mountain. 7 Brilliance Kings. The 4th Brilliance, Silver Basket Heavenly King, Dithua, Yilan Taenghwa. It's pure chaos, Wondun. Gray pure chaos swirls before my eyes at one moment, boiling into primordial chaos, Huan. The sphere of chaos appears both a mixture of white and black, resembling gray, and a mixture of blue and red, resembling purple. What is clear is that yin and yang are so intermixed that they are difficult to discern. Now I see why Han Won was so submissive to Taeyeoljan. Putting aside the Heart Tribe's heavenly tribulation, if Han Won were to face this, his yin-yang energy, twisted by Yun Wei, would have gone berserk. I operate the demon beast methods with all my might. Adding the aspect of lightning to the demon beast methods, I reverse the flow of the method. The exchange of yin and yang ceases, and they begin to scatter within my body. I systematize the dispersing flow of yin and yang within me into the Mad Lord circuits, making it follow my control. As I take my stance in that state, I suddenly feel the sphere of chaos approaching me. Swoosh. The sphere of chaos is absorbed into my body. It should have been a strike that twists and kills me, but instead, it interacts with the reversing flow of yin and yang in my body, neutralizing it, and returning the flow in my body to normal before it dissipates. This is a disintegration method that only I, possessing demon beast methods, the lightning path method, and the circuits of the Mad Lord, can perform. Impressive. You're the first to dispel it in such a manner. Before I know it, Taenghwa has reached in front of me. Then can you block the next one as well? The second brilliance, the third brilliance. Continuous strikes. Red Pearl extinguishing Heavenly King, Shijun Mir, Taenghwa. Laozi's Lapuli protecting Heavenly King, Lili Go Taenghwa. Red flower flares, and blue ghost fire shines from Taenghwa's two hands. Each carries its own destructive power. Crack. If hit, it will physically separate flesh and bone. However, I am more wary of the other moves she has hidden than the attack in front of me. The willow leaf blade has disappeared. I don't know where it will strike from. Severing Mountain Swordsmanship. Sea of Righteousness and Mountain of Grace. TSSDSDSSD. My nascent soul turns into a sword. But this time, it's not for the purpose of infusing it into the colorless glass sword and swinging it. The essence of Sea of Righteousness and Mountain of Grace is not the heart sword, but fusion of power. I literally push all my power into the sword-turned Sea of Righteousness and Mountain of Grace. At the same time, all the power within my body drains away, leaving my body in a state no different from a scarecrow. Because this happens within me, even Taenghwa doesn't immediately notice, and her two palms strike me. However, as soon as the blue and red palms touch my powerless body, they immediately swirl around my meridians and fuse inside the Sea of Righteousness and Mountain of Grace. What? I can feel her astonishment through heart language. Crack. I immediately grab her arms. Impressive. You solved this. How much combat experience does one need to have to solve this upon first seeing it? Taenghwa bursts into admiration and laughs as if delighted, while I, feeling the ominous energy from behind, grip my hands harder. Cut. Her arms are severed as if cleanly cut by a sharp sword. Without hesitation, I initiate Boundless Tao to the other shore from within my nascent soul, exploding the fused power and begin performing a sword dance. A sword dance that will kill me if the power is not released. Nothing less than this level of technique will suffice. My sword dance sweeps away her upper body, and at the same time, I block the incoming willow leaf blade from behind. As I see the willow leaf blade, I recall the time I fought with Jangik and choose not to unleash further attacks on Taenghwa, but instead swiftly exit from the spot. Hot. I escape from Temporal Fate Island and once again take the initial stance of the Severing Mountain Swordsmanship from outside the human race territory. And, in that brief moment, a regretful heart message echoes. Did you say you fought with Master? You were not fooled. A dense pinkish web expands in all directions, entangling the spot where I had just vacated. Had I foolishly thought I gained the upper hand and continued to attack her, I would have been crushed within the spiritual vein realm created by the willow leaf blade. Gradually, as I clash with her, I come to understand the feel of the fighting spirit she has realized. Her use of the willow leaf blade is simply because she learned it from Jangik. Most of her opponents would likely mistake the willow leaf blade as her weapon and focus solely on it. But having clashed with her, I realized that it's not the willow leaf blade saber method that makes her a member of the Heart tribe. Was it called Heart and Heaven Taenghwa painting? I shudder, recalling the name she resounded through heart language. If I'm right, Taenghwa has likely risen through the Heart method itself. In other words, it's like focusing only on the Dragon Vein Chi method and reaching the first step before the throne. Then manifesting and using whatever techniques suit the internal energy cultivation method as needed. The essence of her supreme method is the Chi method itself. Whoom. In the distance, the pinkish light rising from Temporal Fate Island begins to compress. It turns into a crimson light. At the same time, her heart essence starts echoing again. Master wants to be the strongest, Joy Chang, to protect the weak, but I want to be the highest, Zui Gal. His four treasures annihilating heaven's blade can absorb heaven and earth's spiritual energy to indefinitely increase its force, but mine is the opposite. Suddenly, as I face her, I realize another thing. So that's it. The secret of her power was there all along. No matter how overwhelming the power one possesses, if it doesn't hit the target, it is meaningless. Hitting the opponent and knocking them down. That is one of the essences of martial arts and combat. I use the formless sword of infinite freedom that ignores defense and evasion. Kim Young-hoon uses the surpassing radiant saber, which is too fast to react. Jang-ik uses the four treasures annihilating heaven's blade, which renders defense meaningless with its destructive power, stabbing the attack directly into the opponent. But her way is completely different. Certain hit, Bijong. Anyone facing her attack can never evade. They must block it head-on. I recall that I couldn't evade her attacks. It was much slower than Kim Young-hoon's attack, but the reason I couldn't dodge it and had to block it, the reason I couldn't evade even once during the battle, it was due to the properties of her heart and heaven Taenghwa painting. I, on the contrary, connect my heart and spiritual veins to draw strength from within my heart. It's about tapping into the potential inherent in the human soul. Those facing the heart path method she cultivated would see their own potential reflected in the clarity of her heart. It isn't merely a brute force attack with destructive power, but one that makes the opponent confront their own potential using her heart as a mirror. That is the essence of her heart and heaven Taenghwa painting. It isn't that one can't evade, but if one does, their heart would gradually break, increasing the chances of chi deviation and heart demons during the battle. An absolute technique that forces a head-on confrontation. That is her fighting spirit. That is her martial way. Crack, crack, crack. As I infuse my sword with the exploding energy within me, I look at her. She looks back at me. Heart and heaven Taenghwa painting. The sixth, brilliance. Agate hatred heavenly king, Manao Jung Taenghwa. A wave of crimson light unfolds like a sea of blood. I can feel it. If even a drop of this blood sea touches me, the skin of my entire body will be peeled off. The skin might regenerate, but the essence of the blood sea is to peel. It might not just strip away the skin, but also the surface layer of my soul. My consciousness would disintegrate, falling to the plane of chi, and my nascent soul would scatter and perish. It's a strike boasting the worst compatibility for cultivators who analyze information through their domain of consciousness. What's this? I suddenly realize that I have analyzed the opponent's move too quickly. Unlike other attacks, this one feels strangely familiar. Why does it feel like I've seen this before? But I can't remember from where. Enough. This is not the time to think about such things. I think of a way to counter the attack from Tae-yeol-jon. If it's an attack that disintegrates consciousness, then I will counter it with something that cannot be disintegrated. If the previous Chaos Sphere is the worst match for Han-won, this attack is one where Han-won can actually hold the upper hand in compatibility. Of course, it'd be different if it hits, but Han-won can easily nullify this attack before it can strike. Chi cannot be disintegrated. Chi, containing all attributes, is complete in itself, and it's impossible for its attributes to exist separately. Rather, Han-won's Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique is a strange and bizarre method that forcibly disassembles such chi. Chi is life, life is history. The history accumulated by one's existence can never be changed. TSSS DSSS DSSS DSSS. A white mist begins to envelop my sword. The power of the immortal beast mixes with the other heaven and heart forces inside the boundless Tao to the other shore. I take a step forward. Simultaneously, a sword scatters in a stopped world. Boom. With a single slash, a person recorded in the canvas of myriad forms and connections raises their hand. A drop of the blood sea bursts. First sword. Another person raises their hand. 2 drops of the blood sea burst. Third sword. Fourth sword. Fifth sword. My sword scatters beams like rays of lights. The white sword strikes extend in all directions like the hands of the 1,000-armed Guanyin, emitting streaks of light. Countless beams clash with the sea of blood, and with each clash, a connection from the canvas of myriad forms and connections raises their hand. Each drop of the blood sea bursts decisively. In a sea of white mist, countless connections reach out, erasing the sea of blood. How many times has it been? I unleash an uncountable number of sword strikes. And finally, I can sense that all the power I had fused and ignited within the boundless Tao to the other shore has been completely spent. Pong. But at the same time, as I burst the last drop of the blood sea, Chai, I have no strength left in my body. The boundless Tao to the other shore has to be used until all the strength in the body is completely exhausted, and as a result, I am utterly powerless. Tae-yeol-jon clicks her tongue as she looks at me. Other than Master and Han-won, no one else has ever blocked the sixth brilliance in such a way. Impressive. I laugh amidst the pain that squeezes my lungs. It seems this is not the usual way to solve it. It feels like my mind is shaking. I have wrung out so much energy that I feel like I might vomit blood and die at any moment. Whoosh. Floating in the air, I begin to fall as I can't maintain my energy any longer. Outside the human race territory's Cloud Islands, in the rugged mountainous region. If I fall, I will undoubtedly be shattered to pieces. But I squeeze the last bit of energy I have and activate the Mad Lord circuits laid out beforehand in my body. Although my body is in no condition to move, it forcibly moves like a puppet, amplifying the remaining drop of energy to protect itself. Coom. I completely collapse and struggle for breath. Fortunately, I didn't shatter to pieces upon falling, but I really don't have the strength to even hold a sword. It's hard to even breathe. Tot. Tae-yeol-jon lands on the opposite mountain peak where I had fallen and speaks. Typically, one does not use such a brute force approach, but faces it head-on and endures the disassembly of the soul. By making one's consciousness as close to nothingness as possible and reaching emptiness, one can pass the sixth brilliance as if ignoring it. Master could pass it that way, but he felt that using the technique on him was too outrageous and destroyed it completely. Cultivator Han's Great Mountain Emperor splitting technique. The compatibility is too malicious, so it inevitably got blocked. The method of bursting every single drop of the blood sea. You're the first one. I can't even grasp how you did it. The NKS. I struggle for breath, unable to continue speaking. It's difficult to even utter a single word. It feels as if I have aged 1,000 years in a moment. And at the same time, I realize something. An absolute technique that forces the opponent to face themselves. So that's it. The Heart and Heaven Taenghwa painting is. Those techniques. Having gained insight into her method, and with the thought that I must express my understanding, I squeeze out the strength. Using heart essence subtly squeezes my upper dantian, so it's better to speak normally for now. Are not intended to kill. Techniques that separate bones from flesh, flay the skin, or twist the entire body's meridians to cause death. Although terrifying in outcome, having directly experienced them, I understand. Nothingness. All of them. If you make yourself into nothingness, all attacks become nullified. An absolute technique that forces the opponent into a state of emptiness to impart enlightenment. Indeed, her entering heavens is a supreme technique intended to teach enlightenment to the opponent. I speak to her about what I have discovered while coughing up blood. Taenghwa seems genuinely amazed. Impressive. No one, not even the geniuses of the Heart Tribe, has figured that out in a single duel. Only Master recognized the essence, and I got beaten up for being disrespectful. Hee, fascinating. You, a sparkle flickers in her eyes. How much asceticism have you endured? It takes insight that can't be gained without focusing on a single thought for at least 1,000 years, enduring pain like a madman. What single thought have you been pursuing so vehemently? Clank, clank, clank. I feel my body rattling as I stand up. It isn't by my will. Ah yes. My body is essentially just awake in consciousness. It's no different from being in a coma. Yet, my body stood up. Chang. In this moment, I feel an indescribable sense of unity with the emptiness. Calm. A true sense of unity with the formless sword that I have never felt before. Everything within my emptied body fills up with the spirit of the formless sword, moving my body. I remember what Young Hoon Hyungnim had said, before I acquired the formless sword. That is, during the time of the ultimate pinnacle, when I was training at Shattered Heaven Peak. He said he saw me continue training as per my daily routine even after I had fainted. But I couldn't remember training when my memory lapsed. Then, who had moved my body at that time? I see. You have been with me since then. Even martial arts have a spirit. What I did upon reaching tribulating heavens wasn't bestowing a spirit, but merely awakening it. And this spirit's origin is something very familiar to me. For the first time, the formless sword says something other than cut. Hear the Tao in the morning, die content in the evening. If I obtain the Tao in the morning, I am content dying in the evening. Transmitting the words of the formless sword through my mouth, I smile. In life, I have merely strived to grasp even one more Tao. What is your Tao? The causes and connections of all phenomena, Wansheng Yin-Yan, myriad forms and connections. Taenghwa stands still for a moment, then starts forming seals after sticking the willow leaf blade into the peak. Wawoom. The poorly formed clone, which had not been able to form a proper shape, gradually begins to take a clearer form. Taenghwa's main body far away is consuming her own power to reveal herself more distinctly. Her appearance is that of a shaven-headed monk in a robe. She clasps her hands in a prayer gesture towards me. I apologize for trying to teach you rashly. Please accept it. Thanks to you, I've gained great enlightenment. No apology is necessary. Thanks to her, I have learned the true usage of tribulating heavens. Unified with the formless sword, I move to accept her gesture, entirely depleted of strength in the state of emptiness. Shikha. The Heaven Tribe and Earth Tribe at the Heavenly Being stage eliminate the boundary between the internal microcosm and the external natural world, drawing upon the boundless power of heaven and earth spiritual energy. However, the third stage of manifestation of the Heart Tribe, my tribulating heavens, is the opposite, allowing oneself, who has gained a heart from within the soul, to summon infinite power through their martial path. That is the proper use of tribulating heavens that I fully realize today. She shakes her head and says, given your level of self-cultivation, you would have realized it soon even without me. I respect the strength of that will. I take a deep breath. With my intent as a conduit, I feel power rising from the depths of my heart essence. The source of this power is unknown. Perhaps the day I discover the source of this power will be the day I understand what the heart truly is. Originally, This force could only be used for my martial arts, that is, manifestation. A typical Heart Tribe member would only be able to use their manifestation to fight against an enemy, even if their body is being destroyed. However, due to my formless sword, the force that had only stayed at the plane of soul descends to the plane of chi, becoming a life force that invigorates my entire body. Seeing this, Tae-yeol-jan chuckles. Truly astonishing. That power isn't meant to be used like that. To transcend planes and make it possible. Your enlightenment is indeed fascinating. She waits for me to recover. We've clashed with the first 6 moves. Shall we try the remaining 4? Sounds good. She throws up into the air the willow leaf blade she had set beside her. Simultaneously, the area around her seems to darken. Heart and Heaven Taenghwa painting. The 7th brilliance. Obsidian Demon Heavenly King. As if to express respect for me, instead of making the name of the move resound through heart language as before, she begins to unleash the move by voicing it directly. It feels like black glass is filling the space between heaven and earth. Smooth obsidian surfaces cover everything, and I see numerous reflections of myself in the black glass. Each reflection of mine has eyes shimmering with wicked emotions. It's a move that more blatantly invokes heart demons than the 6th move. A kind of a final test. Through the previous 6 absolute techniques, she made the opponent experience emptiness, and if they can't embody emptiness, while being hit at the plane of soul, their soul will shatter like glass. I immediately grasp the essence of this move and calm my mind. This move is purely an attack at the plane of soul, without involving the plane of chi. Likely, even Han 1 can't dismantle this attack with the Great Mountain Splitting Emperor technique. It's a kind of illusion. Yet, realizing this is an illusion, I suddenly feel strange. An illusion shouldn't affect me. But upon reflection, I feel confused. What's this thought? No, there's no basis for saying illusions don't affect me. But what is this feeling? I feel a strange dissonance lingering in my mind. But even observing myself with the canvas of myriad forms and connections, and the formless sword reveals no abnormalities. I'm not sure. For now, let's break this illusion. I calm myself and call forth my heart essence. Though it's baseless confidence saying that illusions won't affect me, I am sure enough not to be swayed by heart demons. Sutsutsu. Soon, the scene reflected inside the black glass begins to change. Instead of myself harboring wicked emotions, it's a mountain. A mountain made of blades. The place where I am drawing power. I am at the core of this blade mountain, drawing power from someplace even I can't reach. Perhaps, finding where this power is drawn from is the path I need to take. Within the black glass, a glass mountain is reflected. The glass mountain again reflects the black glass, initiating an endless cycle of reflections. And at the end of these reflections, I can see the owner of the black glass. Tae-yeol-jan. The black glass and the colorless glass look at each other. This is her heart essence. Inside her is a Taenghwa painting. The 7 colossal heavenly kings are seated inside an enormous Taenghwa, Junhwa, a Buddhist painting, forming a circle beneath a white lotus and wearing benevolent smiles. Each of them appears to be a giant deity capable of supporting the sky, yet none move recklessly from their seats, all sitting quietly cross-legged. Below the lotus is not a well but a scorching hellfire, yet strangely, no one seems to be suffering within it. The bizarre Taenghwa looks utterly sacred. Oddly, above the lotus seems to be a spot where someone could sit, but it's currently unoccupied. Sutsutsu. Before I know it, I have left her heart essence and am facing her again. Amazing, owner of colorless glass. That is something I should be saying. Compared to the beings within you, I am lacking. Although it's clear she had entered my heart essence, she seems not to have suffered any pain, unlike those who had entered before. Han 1 was most terrified of the obsidian demon heavenly king, but you, on the other hand, are the least afraid. Those who have never deceived themselves are free from its gaze. There seems to be no point in exchanging moves any further. Please pull yourself together. I concede defeat. Tae-yeol-jan sits down with a faint smile. Taking a deep breath, I begin to draw in the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to seriously heal my injuries and recover from my internal wounds. At the same time, I ask her about the beings I had seen in her heart essence. Those beings, who are they? Having felt the gaze of true immortals before, I know. They are certainly transcendent beings, undoubtedly existing deities. Tae-yeol-jan is essentially venerating these gods within herself. Did you say you ascended from the lower realms? Then it's understandable you wouldn't know. They are fictional characters from the mythology of the Buddhist path method, only found in the large middle realms. The lower realms, which only have the immortal path, especially those from the decaying corpse realm, wouldn't know about the Buddhist path method. These individuals are known as the 7 Brilliance Kings, Chuang, and are said to descend to the Saha world to bring enlightenment. Buddhist path method. Yes, it is occasionally found in the astral realm, and, though it lags behind the immortal path methods in the middle realm, It is a lineage that has been intermittently maintained. The foundation of the Buddhist path method originates from the seven brilliances kings. What kind of beings are the seven brilliances kings? She explained slowly. Exactly as it sounds. They are fictional characters created by patching together various myths and legends. However, they themselves are examiners who come to test the secular world and simultaneously beings that bring enlightenment. This is the personification of fictional concepts as entities rather than real deities. Are you saying they do not exist? That's correct. They are merely fictional concepts. As proof, there are no rituals or ceremonies that can be dedicated to the seven brilliances kings. Thus, the Buddhist path method incorporates the concept of the seven brilliances kings into its methods, but the actual cultivation of spiritual power is borrowed from existing immortal path methods. They don't exist? What does that mean then? When I faced the owner of heavenly punishment, or the feeling when I encountered the heavenly venerable of the netherworld, that sensation was undoubtedly the feeling of real gods. Anyway, to recite their names, they are as follows. The golden body heavenly king, symbolizing the instant. The red pearl extinguishing heavenly king, symbolizing the cycle. The Lotses lapuli protecting heavenly king, symbolizing protection. The silver basket heavenly king, symbolizing infinity. The tridacna vast cold heavenly king, symbolizing unity. The agate hatred heavenly king, symbolizing pain. The obsidian demon heavenly king, symbolizing filth. These seven beings are known as the seven brilliances kings, the personifications of certain concepts. And, while speaking, she looks at her own body and then says, if you wish to discuss further, there is a temple named Grand Nirvana Temple beneath Heavenly Human Island, at the bottom of the Cloud Island archipelago. My main body is there, so please come to that place. After finishing her words, Tae-yeol-jeon's avatar disperses, her energy scattering and vanishing. It seems she had exhausted all her energy maintaining the avatar while sparring with me. Reflecting on our recent spar, I ponder. The Buddhist path method. I felt that it greatly stimulated my consciousness. Maybe, the Buddhist path method which stimulates consciousness might have a way to treat the abnormalities in my mind. Thinking I should visit with Yun, I get up from my place. Waduk, duck. Kagugagu. A collapsed mountain range. From beneath it, a dark massive body emerges. Hyen Eum, the Black Dragon King, turns his eyes filled with fury towards the one who had destroyed his cave residence. What kind of vermin dares? And then, the Black Dragon King's eyes catch the sight of the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Wawoom. Looking at the fully activated wonderfully mysterious fortress, the Black Dragon King's eyes narrow in an instant. Vast cold heavenly lord? How? But the next moment, he shakes his head. No, it can't be. Just who in the world are you? Who are you to have even slightly cultivated a speck of vast cold's power? I have already gathered even those to myself. How is it possible in bright cold realm? Glaring at the wonderfully mysterious fortress for a moment, Hyen Eum smirks. Yes, that's it. If it's impossible in the bright cold realm, then it must be the power left by vast cold in another heavenly domain. Then you must be an incarnation of a true immortal of another heavenly domain. Haha, the place where we were annihilated is this sun and moon heavenly domain. Yet, how dare you, who is neither a heavenly venerable or light, dare to step foot here? There's only one reason I can think of. Those above must need my power. Do you have a message for me? What message do those above want to convey to me? Speak quickly. And then, a bewildered voice is heard from the wonderfully mysterious fortress. I came looking for Seo Huiol, but what kind of nonsense is he babbling about? Dot, click, flash. Along with the sound of something being pressed, 6 beams of bizarre light shoot out from the wonderfully mysterious fortress and strike Hyen Eum's mouth. Hyen Eum is hit by the strange light and flung backward, his neck snapping in the opposite direction. Chapter 299, Protection, 1. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 299, Protection, 1. Kagugagu. It's as if heaven and earth are boiling. A truly ominous sight as the spiritual energy everywhere bubbles up and turns into dark black water. And as the black water overflows in all directions, the Mad Lord suddenly realizes that he and his wonderfully mysterious fortress have entered within this vast black sea. Wonderfully mysterious fortress. Inside the control room. There, the Mad Lord continuously marvels aloud. Instead of unfolding a domain from within oneself, it's using heaven and earth spiritual energy to assimilate the surroundings with the domain, then unwittingly swapping the domain with the environment at some point. Is this the power of the grand perfection integration stage? Amazing. This makes for a very good reference. Kugugu. Then, a massive figure surges from the depths of the Black Sea. It's the Black Dragon King, Hyen Eum, who had been struck on the head by the Mad Lord. You dare to stand against me? So, you came looking for Seo Huiol, which means you are not a great being. Just a mortal who accidentally obtained the power of vast cold. Now that I think about it, I've heard of you. The Mad Lord Zhou Yun, who kidnapped the Heaven-Earth Palace's inspector right after ascending from that place. Yes, if it's the homeland of vast cold, it's not strange that vast cold left their power behind. Crack. Hien opens his mouth and shouts, "Die, you wretched creature worth less than leftovers." Flash. A dark energy gathers in his mouth and shoots out towards the Mad Lord like a beam of light. The dark line flies straight towards the wonderfully mysterious fortress. But the next moment, boom, her right arm from within the wonderfully mysterious fortress deflects Hien beam. However, immediately after, another Hien bursts out from under the Black Sea's surface and charges at her. And from inside the wonderfully mysterious fortress, 6 integration stage puppets spring into action to assist her. Despicable fakes. I am not afraid of those who are merely imitations and not truly accomplished. The 6 integration stage puppets move in flawless coordination around her. Encompassing heaven and earth, the puppets block the 6 directions, and she battles with Hien in the center. However, Hien is not pushed back by the 7 integration stage puppets. Instead, he freely draws upon power from within his domain, using its force to suppress the puppets and control the power of the Black Sea. Quang. Hien horn collides with her body. She is knocked back, and as Hien charges in with his mouth open, keying. Startled, Hien suddenly senses an overwhelming force converging from the direction of the wonderfully mysterious fortress and frowns. What is this magnitude of power? It's an overwhelming power, not merely the power of breath used by the dragon race. Though far below the star-shattering stage, it is clearly beyond the power scale of the Grand Perfection integration stage. If you were to get hit by that, even Hien would suffer a critical wound. If I attack this puppet, I'll be in a perfect position to get hit by that. I'll withdraw for now. Of course, the best strategy against the Mad Lord would have been to capture her and start a hostage play, but unaware of that fact, Hien retreats back into the Black Sea. The beam of light centered at the 3 roofs of the wonderfully mysterious fortress pierces into the depths of the Black Sea, creating a massive shockwave that evaporates all the black water within a radius of 1,000 li, revealing Hien who had been hiding inside. Damn it! Even if I've fallen, how can you evaporate the water of the Black Sea, which embodies the Netherworld's waters? How is that possible? Hien glares at the wonderfully mysterious fortress with eyes full of hatred. Kugugugugu. The black energy around Hien begins to surge violently. This insect, you dare trample on my pride? Unforgivable. Do you even know what kind of water you've touched? Hien body swells, his scales grow larger, and his body bulges. Simultaneously, dark energy spews from between his scales, coloring the surroundings. I will make you aware of your crime. Flash. Hien shoots towards the wonderfully mysterious fortress like a beam of light. Led by her, the integration stage puppets block Hien Hien horn strikes her. She manages to block it, but is flung away as a result. The next integration stage puppet is shattered into 2 pieces, and the third has its upper body blown away. The remaining puppets also fall, one by one, unable to withstand the rampaging Black Dragon King's assault. Once more, light begins to condense above the wonderfully mysterious fortress. Hien eyes blaze. That's dangerous. No matter how much I've forcibly drawn out my power, getting hit by that can be disastrous. But twice? Twice? Can it really be fired twice with just a mere puppet or Dharma treasure? Unless it's an immortal treasure. He further compresses the power he had drawn out and surrounds his body with it. With his defenses solidified through this state, Hien calculates the time. The speed at which the strange monstrous beam from the wonderfully mysterious fortress was previously fired. Calculating that power, he captures the exact moment of the beam's release. Flash. The strange, monstrous beam is fired, and Hien uses all his strength to dodge the beam. Kugugugugu. An explosion occurs behind him, creating a hole in Hien domain. Hien spits out a mouthful of blood, but clenches his teeth and presses forward. Now only 2 puppets remain. A Supreme Tiger Race puppet charges at Hien but he crushes it with his pure energy. A Cold Spirit Race puppet exhales cold air, but Hien ignores it and devours the puppet with an open mouth. Crunch. Crack. Finally, Hien arrives in front of the wonderfully mysterious fortress and swings with 1 foot. Quang. Part of the wonderfully mysterious fortress's wall is torn away, revealing the control room where the Mad Lord is controlling the fortress right in front of Hien eyes. Finally, I see your face. You rat-like creature. Hien pupils dilate as he sees the Mad Lord inside the control room. Then, he starts probing the inside of the wonderfully mysterious fortress with his consciousness. What kind of structure can produce such power? Is it because of vast cold's power? High-end EUM's consciousness extends everywhere and reaches the topmost layer of the wonderfully mysterious fortress, a place created solely for the Mad Lord's ideal. And High-end EUM's eyes widen. This is an immortal art, Shansu. He takes a breath, distancing his face a bit from the Mad Lord. I see, it's utilizing the power of immortal arts. I suspected it was infused with vast cold's power, but it turns out it was cultivated using the power of immortal arts directly. Yes. My apologies. No, I apologize. It's a type of immortal art I've never seen before. So it means it's a personally developed immortal art. High-M begins to laugh heartily, as if the anger he had shown earlier was all a lie. Haha, I was shocked, thinking the Nether Crossing River was shaken by a mere insect, fellow Taoist. Indeed, shaking the Nether Crossing River would be difficult without someone of equal standing. But you really confused me, suddenly attacking while spouting nonsense. Well, it's no wonder I initially perceived you as at least of equal standing since you harbored the power of vast cold from the beginning. His expression softens as he continues to speak. That aside, if you haven't come to convey a message from those above, then it must mean you came to meet me of your own will. A fellow Taoist who dared to expose himself to the light and brave this treacherous place, wielding an immortal art that handles the power of vast cold, and came to meet me. You must indeed be one of the Taoists from the Netherworld. I think I know who you are. Ho ho. High-end EUM smiles, wanting to continue the conversation with the Mad Lord. Meanwhile, the Mad Lord is frantically pressing buttons in the control room, spitting out a short remark. What the hell have you been babbling about since earlier, you wordy bastard? Click 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 click. Kagugugu. And around High-end EUM, 28 integration stage puppets appear. Just one question. Where is Seo Huiol? Ah no. Alright. You're such an impatient one. Fine, if that's what you really want, I'll let you choose between Black General and Black King. Black Emperor is too cool to be an option, so take that into consideration. Chi. As the forcibly drawn-out power dissipates, High-end EUM, eyes wide, looks at the 28 integration stage puppets rushing at him from all directions. This, what you were not. Krayak. His entire body begins to be torn apart. A mere insect, a mortal lower than dust. You, who are just a toy among us, developed the true principles of the immortal family, Shav. Ridiculous. I can't believe it. How could that be? Boom. The Black Dragon King, gazing at the 28 integration stage puppets and the sphere of light condensing above the wonderfully mysterious fortress, mutters absent-mindedly. But then he laughs emptily, as if realizing something. I see. Being born there means this. What a pitiful creature. Flash. A gigantic ray of light covers High-end EUM's entire body. Stop. Everyone stop. All external missions currently underway by the mystical scaled fish commanding sect are hereby halted, and all personnel who have come from outside must stop whatever they are doing and leave immediately. I frown at the disciple of the mystical scaled fish commanding sect who suddenly entered the curse room, interrupting the curse spell production. Hey, if we leave now, the structure of this curse will completely collapse, rendering it nothing but a heap of useless energy. The other cursed sorcerers nod in agreement at my words. However, the mystical scaled fish commanding sect disciple replies indifferently. It doesn't matter. We've taken all that into account. An issue has arisen within the mystical scaled fish commanding sect that cannot be overlooked, so please leave immediately. Fine, but when you call us back, you'll have to pay us from scratch. The heavenly being cursed sorcerers, Gub Un and Y Han from Black Ghost Valley, firmly state to the mystical scaled fish commanding sect disciple. The disciple grimaces as if having a headache, but nods. Understood. If it really doesn't work out, we'll also pay a penalty, so please just leave. Eventually, we leave the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. What's going on? Does anyone know anything? I'm not sure. The cursed sorcerers each express their curiosity, and I eavesdrop on the conversation through a circuit I had secretly planted in the mystical scaled fish commanding sect. And then I learn the whole story. I see. The Mad Lord attacked High-end EUM, leaving his cave residence in ruins and forcing High-end EUM to flee somewhere in a miserable state, nearly dead. The Mad Lord then pulverized High-end EUM's cave residence to dust, searching for something, and has been wreaking havoc across the True Dragon Alliance's territory ever since. Well, it's not surprising anymore. It's just the Mad Lord being the Mad Lord. With the founder missing, the mystical scaled fish commanding sect has temporarily ceased operations. In the worst case, we might not even get the payment we were promised. And, most likely, the Mad Lord is searching for Seo Huiol. Testimonies about seeing Seo Huiol and the Mad Lord looking for Seo Huiol. These facts are enough to plant the idea in Gurian's mind that maybe Seo Huiol is still alive. In the Earth Tribe True Dragon Alliance's Serving Command Arc. At the lowest level of Serving Command Arc, Gurion, having recently become an integration stage Dragon King, was relieved from her duties as Arc controlling envoy and is handing them over to her successor. Gurion, have you heard? The madman who wrecked Elder Hein Eum's cave residence is searching for Grand Prince Seo Huiol. Yes, I've heard. Gurion's eyes waver. Could he really be alive? However, the rescue signal Seo Huiol sent her at the last moment, and his final moments still linger in Gurion's mind. He was clearly killed by that vile man called Daoist Seo. I even saw the scene where his path to resurrection was cut off. But it feels like he's still alive. Recent news from the human race. The madman called Mad Lord searching for Seo Huiol, and Gurion's woman's intuition all seem to suggest that Seo Huiol might still be alive in some form. By the way, Gurion, have you heard what that madman named the Mad Lord is shouting as he goes around? I think you should hear this. What is he saying? He's been shouting, Seo Huiol, come out. I heard you're getting married. I came to bless your marriage with your lovely bride, so come out now, as he wanders around. A look of puzzlement crosses Gurion's eyes. That's strange. I knew he was secretly preparing for an engagement ceremony long ago, but because of that I haven't cast the vast cold oath, so we haven't even gotten engaged yet. She recalls sneaking a peek at Seo Huiol preparing for the engagement ceremony at the Sea Dragon Palace. Of course, Gurion didn't know that Seo Huiol had anticipated her snooping and prepared the scene to show her. However, Gurion's successor, her close yellow dragon race sister, Gua, speaks with a sly face. Gurion. No, Gurion. I'm speaking as a family member, not in terms of yellow dragon race hierarchy, so please listen carefully. Okay, tell me. The sudden message that Grand Prince Seo sent saying he died, the rumors of him being seen in the human race territory, the madman's words about him getting married, and the engagement ceremony he was preparing. Considering all this together, with a serious face, Gua grabs Gurion's shoulders and says, Grand Prince Seo might be cheating. What? He's definitely with another woman right now. In no way. How could Grand Prince Seo? He's such an upright. However, as she speaks, Gurion can't prevent an image from flashing through her mind. That human pet. The human woman who walked around the serving command arc holding Seo Huiol's hand. As she thinks of her, Gurion grounds her teeth without realizing it. Now that I think about it, when he first saw that Daoist Seo guy, it was on the flying immortal platform. He seemed to have some potential but didn't quite meet my standards, and they seemed to know each other from the lower realm. They didn't look like they had a bad relationship at first. Her mind begins to race. They didn't meet after that, but suddenly this Daoist Seo comes and kills him in a way that prevents resurrection? And Seo Huiol sent me that scene. Perhaps Seo Huiol was trying to make Gurion believe that he was dead. Such thoughts spin in her mind. Then, he goes to the human territory with that pet, and cheats. Crunch. Unconsciously, Gurion emits a force that distorts the space around her. Everything seems to click into place. Maybe, the engagement preparations back then were not for me, but for that pet? And the rumor about him marrying that pet spread, making the madman search for him? Yes, that must be it. Her instincts as a woman are telling her. Seo Huiol is still alive, and he must be with that woman from the human race. Seo Huiol. Regardless, Seo Huiol, who supposedly died at the hands of Seo Eun-hyun, could not answer her. The dead, after all, do not speak. I exclaim in astonishment. Amazing. This place is the Grand Nirvana Temple. The Grand Nirvana Temple, where Taenghwa resides, is beneath Heavenly Human Island. It's a small temple situated at the bottom of a valley under the Cloud Island archipelago. However, what's astonishing is that the entire valley where the Grand Nirvana Temple is located is covered with enormous Taenghwas. I fail to close my mouth as I observe this majestic sight. So Appa, are there cultivation methods here that can aid with consciousness? I came down here with Kim Yun. After finding some consciousness methods that she and I can use, all I have to do is ask Kim Yun to contact Kang Min-hee, and my part will be done. Yes, and there's also a grand cultivator of the integration stage here. One whose martial arts seem to match especially well with yours. I think of the fighting spirit of Taenghwa. Her enlightenment is clearly centered on the heart method. However, in the bright cold realm, there haven't been any specific internal energy methods developed. That means her fighting spirit is a fighting spirit founded on the immortal path method. I had never known it was possible to reach entering heavens through refining immortal path methods, but thinking she can greatly aid Kim Yun, who substituted martial arts achievements with consciousness methods, I brought her along. We crossed the valley decorated with majestic Taenghwas and finally arrive at a small temple. However, unlike other temples, where the main hall is called Grand Hero Hall, this one is called Grand Nirvana Hall, written and pronounced the same way as Taenghwa. Creak. The door of Grand Nirvana Hall opens, and Taenghwa walks out from inside. Welcome, both of you. At her gesture of joining palms, not only do I respond instinctively, but so does Kim Yun next to me. It seems likely that this too is a function of her heart and heaven Taenghwa painting. Kim Yun and I enter the Grand Nirvana Hall. It seems this building is called Grand Nirvana Hall. Yes, the names are a bit unique because we are a minor sect. And as you might have guessed, my name is also derived from this Grand Nirvana Hall. We head to the Buddha shrine and pay respects to the 7 Brilliances Kings, the Bodhisattvas of this world, and then move to the guest hall to sit. Tae-yeol-jon herself brings the tea leaves, kindles the wood, lights the fire, and brews the tea for us. It's clear and pure. I remark on the fragrance of the tea and the aura I feel in this temple. It seems like a good place for solitary cultivation. Solitary? There are many people here. It's always bustling. At Tae-yeol-jon's words, I look around. Now that I think about it, this guest hall. Indeed, there are large Taenghwas hanging everywhere. Are you interested in Buddhist family methods? I'm interested for secular reasons. I need methods related to consciousness. At my words, Tae-yeol-jon smiles faintly. There are plenty of consciousness methods. Especially the 7 Brilliances Kings lineage methods are mostly consciousness methods. There are things I'd like to ask about those 7 Brilliances Kings as well. My eyes meet the Bodhisattvas in the Taenghwas. The Bodhisattvas in the Taenghwas all wear benevolent smiles. What would you like to know? I'd like you to tell me everything. Everything? I'll tell you what I know. Tae-yeol-jon excitedly brings over one particular Taenghwa. To explain the 7 Brilliances Kings, I first have to explain the future king. The Taenghwa depicts a being. He is seated on a lotus in a meditative pose, dressed in a black kasaya, monk robes, and smiling benevolently. Below the lotus are 7 bodhisattvas. The 7 Brilliances Kings that resemble those in the Taenghwas hung around are looking up at the being in black kasaya, raising their hands high up. It's as if they are praising the virtue of this being. The being extends one hand, as if inviting the 7 Brilliances Kings to his side. The future king signifies salvation that will come someday. Some say he represents hope, or tomorrow and the future itself. In terms of the immortal path, he represents the true immortality, or the shedding after entering nirvana. He is also of great significance in the origin of Buddhist family methods, embodying the essence of Buddhism itself. And the 7 Brilliances Kings are bodhisattvas and heavenly kings who teach to reach the future king. It is said that once their role is complete, they will follow the path set by the future king, rise to sit beside him, and enjoy the true Dharma in the eternal paradise. Kim Yun says with sparkling eyes, "That's a wonderful story. They seem like remarkable beings. I used to occasionally attend Buddhist lectures back in my hometown." Ho, it seems your hometown also practices Buddhist family methods. I already feel a kinship. She seems to find Tae-yeol-jon's story quite fascinating. However, such a future king is too vast a concept that it hardly appears in the methods. It's mentioned once or twice in the scriptures at most. Essentially, it's the personification of the entire 3,000 great heavenly worlds itself. Therefore, what's usually mentioned in the methods are the 7 Brilliances Kings, who are practically disciples of the future king. Among them, Tridakna vast cold heavenly king, Cultivator Co. Suddenly, Tae-yeol-jon's gaze turns towards me. Kim Yun also notices something strange about me and asks with concern, "Appa, are you okay? Are you feeling unwell?" I can't answer. For some reason, I feel a strange sense of déjà vu. At the same time, I feel unbearably nauseous. I feel like I'm going to vomit. Since reaching the core formation stage, I have never been sick or felt like this due to health reasons. But for some inexplicable reason, I feel like I am about to throw up and feel so dizzy that I want to lie down. I feel terrible. I examine my body, but can't find the cause at all. My mind feels extremely sluggish. I ponder deeply and realize when I had last felt this sense of déjà vu. All right, it's when I vomited on the mass-produced Nether Crossing ship during Ascension. It's a similar feeling to that time. Feeling like parasites are wriggling in my brain. I eventually can't endure it any longer, and, with all the strength I can muster, I force the feeling of vomiting towards Seoli. Main body, I hear a scream of agony from Seoli's side, but I can't afford to pay attention. My head feels foggy and painful. It's as if bugs have entered my brain and are causing fits of madness. I apologize to Tae-yeol-jon and ask, "I'm really sorry. I feel strangely ill. May I rest a bit?" "Ah, yes. Of course. I'll prepare a room in the monks' quarters for you." Supported by Kim Yun, I head to the monks' quarters of Grand Nirvana Hall, pondering, what in the world? That Taenghwa. Seeing the Taenghwa, I can't bear it any longer. But I can't understand the reason at all. Main body. Cursing oneself is a peculiar feeling. The present me curses the future me, and the future me curses the past me. That's how people often curse themselves, and it always feels peculiar. Because such cursing only happens when everything goes completely wrong. I look at the vomit in front of me. Who knows what Yuan Li had done to his blood body, but my stomach is filled with blood instead of stomach acid, so what I vomited is bright red blood. And I had just met Kang Min-hee after leaving the Black Ghost Valley. Kang Min-hee is staring at me with wide eyes as I vomit in front of her. I'll kill you, main body. Of course, it's a meaningless phrase like, I'll kill you, past me. So it's something I just have to bear inside. The bigger issue is that I had vomited in front of Kang Min-hee, a Grand Elder of Black Ghost Valley and a former colleague from the past. I need to fix this. Chapter 300, Protection, 2. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 300, Protection, 2. What should I do? Should I say it's a surprise magic trick? That's crazy. Should I put it back in my mouth? No, what would she think of me? Should I say it's a chronic illness? But I'm already at the nascent soul stage. Or, it's when my head is spinning with thoughts. Kang Min-hee approaches me. Feeling like my head will explode from the tension, I brace myself. Considering Kang Min-hee's personality and the severity of the punishments at Black Ghost Valley, I might end up working in the labor camp with my spiritual power sealed for 10 days or become the test subject for some crazy cultivators for a few days. Then it happens. Are you alright, Seoli? Kang Min-hee asks, placing her hand on my forehead. Come to think of it, I was so focused on my mistake that I didn't read her intent. Kang Min-hee is actually worried about me. I'm okay. I apologize for showing such an unsightly scene. Unsightly scene? You vomited blood. That doesn't look okay at all. I try to think of a proper explanation. It's a side effect of a method I practiced before ascending to the bright cold realm. It's just a bit of blood, so please do not worry. Really? However, I realize something is wrong. Her intent is turning cold. My friends say it's a lie. Apparently, some ghosts who practiced devilish arts, like the blood demon suppressing sea light or blood chain binding forest, have recognized my symptoms. I have a lot of friends, and among them, there is a friend with excellent medical skills. They say your symptoms are caused by internal turmoil. Is that so? I apologize for lying. She gestures tiredly towards me. Come here. I'll give you medicine. No, thank you. How could I possibly dare? It's an order. Come here. Don't go coughing up blood somewhere else. Get treated here. I involuntarily follow her to her office. Some ghosts start cleaning up the blood I had spewed at the back. Damn, I just came to greet her to raise some goodwill. Because the main body suddenly saw something strange, I ended up bearing the consequences. She reaches into a storage scroll hanging in her office and pulls out a pill the size of an eyeball. Here, this is called the bamboo pill. It's very effective for internal injuries. May I know what this medicine is made from? Why? Got allergies? Yes, something like that. Let's see. It's made from ingredients good for internal injuries. Dried leaves of ghost yang flower that grows in places with thick energy in Ghost Valley, ghost bamboo that grows in swamps, and, yuck, wine bone toad poop. It seems she is hearing the ingredients from her friends. And black moss and clay used for building houses? Really? Why would you make medicine from that? What? The clay has the power of consciousness imbued in it. What is this? She hesitates for a moment, then asks me. It contains frog poop and mud. It should be safe to take. What do you think? Do you want to eat this? Yes, please give it to me. If I think of it as Yuan Yu's body, I can eat things even worse than poop. Rather, the thought of insulting Yuan Li actually makes me feel refreshed. Alright. I thank Kang Min-hee, chew the pill, and activate the blood demon suppressing sea light. Life energy surges through my body, and my chest feels refreshed. How is it? Do you feel better? Yes, thanks to Grand Elder, I feel much better. The disgusting, revolting feeling that made my stomach turn is completely gone. Yet, I feel slightly worried. The main body's passed out right now. No, rather than passing out, it's more like he's lying down in the monk's quarters to recover his strength, sleeping as if fainted. The problem is that the main body is sleeping. After reaching the core formation stage, I hardly needed sleep or food, and since I swore revenge on Yuan Li after Taenghwa died, I haven't slept properly. I rarely felt so weakened that I needed to sleep. If I ever passed out, it was usually because I had encountered an exceptionally powerful enemy and fought until I lost consciousness, endured extreme environments for over 10 years until my spiritual power was completely depleted, or met a great being. But the main body started acting strange after looking at just one Taenghwa painting. His physical condition isn't that bad either. Thanks to the enlightenment from Tae-yeol-jon, I learned how to draw power from deep within my unconscious, converting that power into vitality through the formless sword. Yet, out of nowhere, I suddenly felt nauseous and fainted. It's such a strange occurrence. Is there something hidden in that Taenghwa? Perhaps that's the case. If so, it's truly terrifying. Because Yun has also seen Taenghwa. Perhaps Tae-yeol-jon is being controlled by deities like the Seven Brilliances Kings or the future king without even realizing it. My primary concern is the safety of the main body. At the same time, I'm worried about the safety of US. The main body has always been me. I am Seo Eun-hyun, and Seo Eun-hyun is Seo Lee. It's no different from playing with a puppet in one hand and performing ventriloquism. Of course, calling it merely ventriloquism is an understatement given the resources and level of the technique involved. My current situation is like a ventriloquist fainting from exhaustion while the puppet wakes up and continues the performance. It's an utterly nonsensical situation. So, is the current me the original Seo Eun-hyun, or a second personality born from Seo Eun-hyun? I feel confused about my identity. Of course, it isn't as if I'm suffering or worried about being truly separated from the main body. It is what it is. I possess the memories of the original Seo Eun-hyun, as well as his enlightenment. Whether I am Seo Lee or Seo Eun-hyun, or a second personality born from him. Honestly, that's all there is to it. I have no desire to possess the main body or to steal his life and the power of his regression. The main body's life, the power of regression, and his fate are all in themselves terrifying despair and pain. I don't want to take that on. What worries me is regression. Until now, I was sure that if the main body died, his consciousness would fully transfer to me, and I would become the resurrected form. If the resurrected form dies, I would regress again. However, seeing signs of separation between the main body and my consciousness raises a concern. If the main body dies, he might regress without resurrecting as me. That would be a loss for the original and a huge concern for me. If that happens, what will happen to me? Would I regress with the main body or stay in this world line? Either way, it doesn't matter. Once the main body wakes up, I'll need to discuss this issue with him. I organize my thoughts and bow my head to Kang Min-hee in front of me. Thank you very much, Grand Elder. All right, it's good if you're feeling better. Next time, don't think it's rude. If you're struggling or in pain, speak up immediately. I hate people who pretend to be fine the most. Huh, is that so? Yes. Back in the day, there was a fool like that in my hometown. What kind of fool? That fool and I. How should I put it? We worked together in a place like a merchant association. That fool made a huge amount of mistakes when he first joined. He managed to improve after making the mistakes soon enough, but anyway, in his second week, he spilled a drink on his superior's desk. I know exactly what she's talking about, and my mind sinks. Damn it, it's about me. Definitely about the incident when I spilled coffee on Chief Hyun-suk's seat. Hyun-suk Hyungnim. I thought he was the scariest in the department back then. They say when a woman harbors resentment, frost falls in summer. Then why doesn't frost fall when a man gets angry? Because when a man is angry, it's a force in itself. Now, Oh Hyun-suk and I got along well as brothers, and he himself is the type who easily laughs and makes friends. However, typically, such people are the most terrifying when they get angry. After work, I was called to the smoking area for an hour and a half and got a stern lecture while standing in a parade rest posture. It was the first time I realized how terrifying it could be to be reprimanded without getting hit, especially when someone as big and muscular as him speaks in a low, stern voice. I thought there was a lion growling in front of me. When that stupid bastard messed up, I waited for him to get scolded by his boss, and then we went home together. When I saw him, he was drenched in cold sweat, and his legs were so weak he could barely stand. When I told him to, how should I explain this here? Something like a transport magic artifact. I told him to sit, but he insisted on standing. That's exactly how it was. She had waited for me, struggling herself. I remember the events of that day. Even worse, it started raining when we got off the subway, and Kang Min-hee didn't have an umbrella. Back then, both of us commuted from our family homes in the southern part of Gyeonggi, so we took the Shinbundang line from Seoul to Gwangyo. One of the reasons I started dating her was that our commuting routes overlapped, and we both got off at Gwangyo. When we got off, all the convenience store umbrellas were sold out, and there was nowhere to buy one. Since my home was closer to Gwangyo Station, I decided to run home and gave my umbrella to Kang Min-hee, who had further to go. That's a memory too. Kang Min-hee recounts the story exactly as I remember it, including how I gave her my umbrella. However, her perspective on the experience seems slightly different from mine. That idiot moron bastard dared to catch a cold the next day and wandered around all day with a fever, driving me crazy trying to take care of him. I was so frustrated watching him sniffling all day without being able to speak properly. I don't remember it being that bad. From my memory, I managed to get through the day fairly well. But it seems Kang Min-hee remembers it a bit differently. And what's more, that day, there was something called Excel from my hometown. Our superior taught it to us that day, but because of the cold, he couldn't properly get it in his head and kept coming to ask me about it. She laughs as if amazed by her own story. This shows that if you fail to take care of yourself in time, the harm spreads to the whole group. Remember this. Don't act like that idiot moron. Hearing her story, something stirs in me, and I ask a question. But, excuse me, Grand Elder. What is it? In the story you just told, you mentioned that the fool gave you his raincoat and got a cold the next day. Yes, that's right. Then, if you hadn't taken the raincoat, Wouldn't you have caught the cold instead? That could have been the case. But unlike that fool, I'm smart. She sighs and continues. If I had caught the cold instead, I could have learned from that fool later, right? He's too dumb to understand anything more than what I explained to him, but I can grasp most things with just a single explanation. So it would have been better for me to learn from that idiot later. Therefore, she lights a pipe and stands up. Kang Min-hee begins drawing a formation on the ground that communicates with the nether ghost realm, finishing her story with the following words. If I could go back in time, I would get sick instead. The main body woke up again. I explained everything I had experienced to the main body and summarized all the events that had occurred while he was asleep, transmitting the information to his consciousness. However, I did not convey Kang Min-hee's last remark to the main body. Chapter 301, Protection, 3. Editors, Z0rel, Blue Mango Ade. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 301, Protection, 3. A second personality. It feels like I've become mad, but upon careful thought, I realize I've always been insane and accept it calmly. Though I appear sane, in reality, my mind already snapped during the first 7 stars ritual, so it's just the madness returning again. I've been mad for quite a while now. Separation of personality. When I had just fallen asleep, I was definitely disconnected from Co. Lee, but now I can feel it that I can feel that Co. Lee and I are connected again. If a real separation of personalities were to happen, that wouldn't be too bad. Feeling connected to Co. Lee, I sense that if I die, Co. Lee would return with me. Since our souls are still one, he wouldn't detach from me. If that happens, we can better endure the loneliness of regression. Co. Lee isn't particularly scary. I didn't think he has the ability to take over my body, and even if he gains such power, he considers me, the original, important enough to inform me of any change in his personality. There's no lack of information sharing between Co. Lee and me. We are one. That is, as much as we are one body, I am prepared to let it be if he takes over. After all, Co. Lee is me too. Well, okay. Setting that aside, I straighten up. Durik. Inside the monk's quarters, Yun brings in some tea. Appa, have some tea. I learned how to brew tea from Miss Monk, and she brews it really well. Ah, thanks. After drinking the tea she offered, I tidy up my spot and look around the monk's quarters. There are quite a few books here. Even inside the living courts of monks, there are bookshelves here and there, filled with books. I randomly pick one to read. I've seen this fairy tale in the head realm. I flip through the familiar fairy tale book and put it back. The fairy tale, with the theme of sincerity moves the heavens, seems to exist even in the bright cold realm. I also read several books on Buddhist family methods to broaden my understanding of them and the 7 brilliances kings. After a while, Kim Yun, using the wonderfully mysterious innate heart canon, says, Un Hyun Appa, Monk Tae is calling for you. Ah, okay. Let's go now. I put the books back on the shelf and head back to the Grand Nirvana Temple's guest hall with her. There, Tae Yeoljan is waiting with several books laid out. These are the Buddhist family methods you requested, Cultivator CO. There are consciousness methods, body refining methods, and regular methods. There are various types, so take and learn them as you wish. I express my gratitude and pick up the books, skimming through them before being startled. Wait, aren't all of these methods for reaching the integration stage, starting from the nascent soul stage? I expected them to be methods for the chi building and core formation stages at most, but recognizing their value makes my hands tremble. Tae Yeoljan smiles slightly. After all, I lack the talent for Heaven Tribe methods, so my cultivation has only reached the core formation stage. These method books have no value to me beyond being sutra annotations. What do you want in return? What do you mean? As I said, they hold no great value to me. I'm giving them to you for free. After all, we're both grand cultivators. I once again scan through the consciousness methods, body refining methods, and Heaven Tribe methods one more time with my consciousness, and take only those that seem most helpful to me. Thank you. It's nothing. I thank Tae Yeoljan, and we chat a few more words. Then, a question suddenly occurs to me. By the way, Taoist Tae, there's something I'd like to ask. It's something I've been curious about while meeting her. What is it? The manifestation you've achieved, it's called the Heart and Heaven Taenghwa painting, right? That's right. While confronting your Heart and Heaven Taenghwa painting, I felt that the essence of your manifestation stems from the core formation method you practiced. In other words, a Heaven Tribe method. That's right. In martial arts terms, she achieved entering heavens through internal energy methods. Since she's originally from the middle realm, it's certain that she didn't practice internal energy methods, but rather a Heaven Tribe method to reach entering heavens. In short, it's as if Changmun Ryong had reached entering heavens through his obsession with understanding before breakthrough. I wondered how that was possible. If such a thing was possible, why aren't all those obsessed with their cultivation methods becoming members of the Heart Tribe? At my words, Tae Yeoljan laughs and says, I am first and foremost a religious person before being a cultivator. As someone who has returned to the Buddha and developed my faith in the seven brilliances kings to the extreme, I was able to reach manifestation as a result. Ultimately, the key is not an obsession with the cultivation method itself, but rather an intense yearning for a particular enlightenment within the cultivation method that leads to manifestation. Feeling a mix of regret and curiosity about Changmun Ryong, I ask her a question. Is it possible to reach entering heavens through immortal family methods? For example, by seeking understanding before breakthrough. It is theoretically possible. However, immortal family methods are much more difficult than Buddhist family methods. Why is that? Buddhist family methods always involve defining the existence of intent and understanding its exchange. After all, even the seven brilliances kings are said to reside within us as a form of intent. Immortal family methods are not like that. They are practiced solely by oneself. That's why it is infinitely more difficult to achieve manifestation through immortal family methods than Buddhist family ones. And one more thing. She explains another difference between immortal family methods and Buddhist family methods. If Buddhist family methods derive their foundation from the seven brilliances kings, immortal family methods mostly derive theirs from heaven, and earth. These are the heaven tribe and earth tribe methods. Especially since heaven tribe methods take heaven as their origin. The more you practice, the less you care about human intent, making manifestation even more elusive. I see. Indeed, it seems that the more one masters heaven tribe methods within the immortal family methods, the further one moves away from the enlightenment of manifestation. I, too, felt that the higher my realm, the more contradictory the enlightenment demanded by the heaven, earth, and heart tribes became, so it makes sense. After a few more words, I express my thanks to her and get up from my seat. Thank you for enlightening me on many things. From now on, as fellow grand cultivators and fellow heart tribe spies, I look forward to your guidance. Heart tribe spy? I just ran away from my master to become independent, so I'm really not a spy. Maybe you are the only spy, cultivator CEO. She responds to my joke with a joke of her own and sees me and Yun out. At the gate of Grand Nirvana Temple, another question suddenly occurs to me. By the way, I have one more question. What is it? If you don't want to answer this, you don't have to. But I was wondering why your name and the name of the Grand Nirvana Temple's Grand Nirvana Hall are the same. If this question was rude, I apologize. No, it's not that serious of a question. There's nothing much to it. I originally had no name. I was simply born and raised in the Grand Nirvana Temple. I don't know who my real parents are, nor do I care to know. I've always identified myself with the Grand Nirvana Temple, taught by the former head monk here. Tae-yeol-jon kindly explains the origin of her name. The head monk told me to return to the secular world and enter the nascent soul stage to find my parents and didn't give me a Dharma name. But I didn't want to sever my ties with Grand Nirvana Temple, so I decided my own Dharma name to be Tae-yeol-jon, the same as Grand Nirvana Hall. She bows with folded hands as she sees us off. My name is Tae-yeol-jon, just a rebellious rascal who didn't even receive a name from Grand Nirvana Hall. We bow in return and then leave. Meeting her gave me much to think about and much to gain. After returning to Heavenly Cauldron Mountain from Grand Nirvana Hall, I ask Yun for a favor. Min-hee Yuni? Yeah, do you think it's possible? You know that John Myung-hoon wasn't on good terms with everyone, and that my relationship with Kang Min-hee wasn't great either, right? You two didn't get along well. For some reason, Kim Yun looks at me with partly closed eyes. I'm puzzled, not knowing the reason. Yes, well, I'll try to contact her. I have something to talk about with Min-hee Yuni anyway, and I also want to see her. Thanks, that's great. Soon after, Yun contacts Black Ghost Valley, and the reply comes quickly. Hyaya, a ghost from Black Ghost Valley comes to the training grounds where Yun and I are practicing. Kim Yun, who had been practicing the paired wing dance in front of me, looks at the ghost as it approaches her. She connects her consciousness with the ghost using the wonderfully mysterious innate heart cannon. After a while, her expression brightens after receiving the ghost's reply. Appa. Min-hee Yuni will have time to meet after the full moon, so we'll meet then. Oh, as expected, Kim Yun, who was always the most beloved in the company, received a quick reply. However, I feel something strange. Wait, from Co. Lee's perspective, Kang Min-hee seems to be quite free now. Why insist on meeting after the full moon? It's as I said. Currently, I've become quite close to Kang Min-hee in Co. Lee's body. Oddly enough, she said she felt a familiar sense from Co. Lee and quickly became close with him. Thanks to that, I know. She has quite a bit of free time now. But why specifically after the full moon? I ponder if there's a reason, then read the celestial energy. After the full moon, it will be the day when the Yin energy is strongest in the bright cold realm for the year. It's something akin to the winter solstice. There seems to be a specific reason for choosing that time. And so, the full moon passed. Whoa. I am flying through the sky using the flying escape technique. Recently, I have been carrying out various missions for the mystical scaled fish commanding sect, and have already gathered 300 merit points. I can officially enter the Ghost Soul Hall if I gather 700 more points or reach the Heavenly Being stage in the meantime. And today, I am in the middle of another mission. It's a 700-point mission directly assigned by Kang Min-hee, the Vice Hall Master of the Ghost Soul Hall. Now I understand why Kang Min-hee wanted to meet on this day. Chiik. Using a flying escape technique, I slice through the night sky and enter the vast wetlands of Cold Marsh, located on the eastern outskirts of the Cloud Island archipelago, beyond the human race Grand Alliance's territory. The Cold Marsh is a deeply saturated swamp territory, and it's a region belonging to the Yeopta tribe, a heaven tribe resembling reptiles. I go as far as humans are allowed in the outskirts of the Yeopta tribe territory. This place seems good. I find a suitably gloomy and deep swamp and release the ghosts I have brought from the Black Ghost Valley. As the numerous ghosts spread out in the already murky Cold Marsh at midnight, an overwhelming symphony of ghostly wails and sobs echo everywhere. Kaya, yuf, ayaha. Unlike before, now that the ghost immortal Kuei devilish secrets has taken shape, I can alter the form of death to not agitate the ghosts, so they don't find me as terrifying and don't try to flee. Form the formation. As I command as a ghost king, the ghosts begin to draw a formation according to my orders. It's a formation that Kang Min-hee had taught me. After a while, a massive diagram made of ghosts appear over the swamp of Cold Marsh. The diagram depicts a giant ghost king, with the character for longevity, Sog, reversed on its face. I gather the surrounding energy and ghostly energy, forming hand seals and chanting incantations. And at a certain moment, Patit, the formation, which has been absorbing the energy of Cold Marsh, begins to emit energy on its own. Sasao. The surroundings are increasingly shrouded in a sinister and terrifying aura. When the terrifying aura reaches its peak, I complete all the hand seals and recite the final incantation. Hidden Gate of Decaying Rot, Fumishing. Open. Kaya. In an instant, as if torn apart by a massive beast, the entire area where the diagram is drawn rapidly decays. At the same time, I can see streams of pitch-black darkness flowing into the bright cold realm. It feels like I'm conducting some sort of grand demon summoning ritual. Though it's just a ritual to summon an ex-girlfriend. After a while, as the pitch-black darkness subsides, I gradually notice something crossing over from beyond the darkness. It's a massive, ghostly entity with disheveled hair, leading thousands of ghost kings around her, with pitch-black ghost claws on both hands. As the ghostly entity plants its claws hands into the ground of the bright cold realm, it begins to climb up. Chi. I wrap the ghost immortal Kuei devilish secrets around the soul ghost incantation to make sure it doesn't feel any pain, then create long chains to bind its wrists. Next, I begin to pull the creature up into the bright cold realm from above. After a while, the creature, with a body long enough to measure about 2.4 m, finally succeeds in stepping onto the soil of the bright cold realm. The numerous ghost kings that followed it let out regretful screams as they remained beyond the darkness, and the dark space I opened begins to close. After a while, the body of the 2.4 m ghost creature begins to shrink. TSTSTSTS. Eventually, the 2.4 m ghost creature shrinks to the size of a human woman and becomes a naked woman in the darkness. Whoosh! A breath like that of a ghostly wind sweeps through the nearby environment. The swamp within a 70-li radius freezes over with just one breath. It's warm. As expected, I like the bright cold realm. She takes a step forward with a grin. Immediately, the ghostly energy responds, naturally enveloping her body. Soon, she is dressed in the black long robe of Black Ghost Valley. That's the Black Grand Elder of the Black Ghost Valley, Kang Min-hee's main body. I bow my head before her, letting my hair hang down. Since I am also wearing the characteristic black robe of the Black Ghost Valley, she and I clearly look like a superior and her subordinate. Seo Li, sole disciple of Black Ghost Valley. I have completed the mission assigned by the Grand Elder. Ah yes. Good work, Seo Li. She laughs, emitting frost with every breath. I will inform the duty hall to award you merit points. By the way, did you bring it? Here it is. I hand her the pipe that her clone often smoked. Ah, thank you. This kind of thing is not possible on the side path. The mission I had undertaken, worth 700 merit points, was to help the main body of Kang Min-hee, the Black Grand Elder and Vice Hall Master of Ghost Soul Hall, to enter the bright cold realm from the side path. Using Will-o'-the-Wisp, she lights the pipe and walks to a suitable spot. Then, from her shadow, ghost kings of at least heavenly being stage rise and freeze the water in the direction she gazes, creating an ice chair. As she exhales cold air, the ice freezes further and becomes even more solid. Kang Min-hee smokes the pipe while sitting on the ice chair. Blue smoke rises from her lips. Originally, I intended to give you this mission to bring you into the Ghost Soul Hall through merit points. Kang Min-hee looks at me and speaks with amazement. Seeing you with my main body, you're deaf. It's really deep. I'd believe it if you said you're a ghost king who crawled back from facing a death god in the darkest depths of the netherworld. With your talent, you can reach the heavenly being stage with just a bit more enlightenment in a short period. Save your contribution points and aim for the heavenly being stage instead. Use the points when you really need them. Understand? Grateful for her kind suggestion, I bow my head and express my thanks. Thank you, Grand Elder. And I shall take my leave now. I know why Kang Min-hee did not immediately return to Black Ghost Valley, but settled here at Cold Een Marsh. Today is the day she is to meet Kim Yun. Kang Min-hee had specified in her communication with Kim Yun, do not bring John Myung-hoon and Seo Eun-hyun. Therefore, I shouldn't be present here. However, Kang Min-hee, with wide eyes, speaks as if she doesn't understand. What are you talking about, Seo-lee? Come here. I have someone to meet, but they won't arrive for a while. Keep me company until then. Then, can I leave when they arrive? Do you dislike me? No, not at all. Why do you keep trying to leave? It's fine to stay. I'm just meeting an old friend from home. I ended up staying with Kang Min-hee. For a while, we chatted, and at some point, I found myself brushing her hair. Is it okay? Ma. She begins to vocalize in a soft voice, saying, it's nice. You brush well. Who taught you? You did. Someone taught me a long time ago. Whoever it was, they taught you well. I remember brushing her hair when she was tired and begin brushing it again, occasionally massaging her scalp. Kang Min-hee feels my touch and takes a puff from her pipe. Blue smoke wafts up as she remains silent for a moment. It's cold. The side path. It's directly connected to the nether ghost realm, so the ghostly energy and energy from there pours out. Is that so? Perhaps that's why I missed this warmth. I felt it indirectly with the clone, but the warmth felt by my true body is certainly more special. She relaxes and rests her head in my hands for a while. Shall I massage your shoulders too? Please do. I naturally comfort her in the order she used to like. Under the night sky, her perpetually cold shoulders gradually begin to warm. Time passes. Pat it. From afar, a pale pink glow flies in. It's Yun. I feel uncomfortable as if I'm breaking a promise. But since Kang Min-hee told me not to leave, I stay. Tot. Yun emerges from the dim glow. Her eyes meet Kang Min-hee's. Tack tack. Kang Min-hee quickly puts away her pipe into the storage scroll and greets Kim Yun warmly. Yun, it's been so long. Our cutie. How have you been? Yuni. I haven't been great, but it wasn't unbearable. Kang Min-hee squeezes Kim Yun's cheeks with both hands, doting on her, and Kim Yun laughs happily in response. After laughing and chatting for a while, Kang Min-hee introduces me to Kim Yun. This is Seo-lee, a friend who attends to me. It's okay for him to stay with us, right? Of course. Hello, I'm Kim Yun, Min-hee Yuni's junior. You're very pretty too. Thank you. There's something I need to correct, but I awkwardly smile and let it pass for now. After a brief lively catch-up, they move to a nearby rock and create seats using an earth manipulating technique and begin to talk in earnest. I feel like a third wheel between them, but decide to endure it. During their conversation, Kim Yun coughs slightly, then speaks to Kang Min-hee with a bit more seriousness. Min-hee Yuni. What? Have you met with any of our other colleagues? Colleagues? People from our company? No, I haven't met them. I've heard things here and there, but I haven't actively looked for them. John Myung-hoon. That bastard. I heard he's dead. Section Chief isn't dead though. Oh, I thought something happened with the whole sect or something. Guess I heard wrong. Just die already. Why isn't that bastard dead? Despite her words, she internally breathes a sigh of relief. Well, it seems Eun-hyun Appa managed to save him somehow. Min-hee Yuni. What? Kim Yun hesitates for a moment, glances at me to ensure I wouldn't understand, and speaks in Korean. I started dating Eun-hyun Appa. Kim Yun watches Kang Min-hee's reaction carefully as she speaks. For a while, both of them are silent. Kim Yun cautiously asks Kang Min-hee, is that okay? Chapter 302, Protection, 4. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 302, Protection, 4. Kang Min-hee stays silent for a moment after hearing those words. I carefully observe the intent of the pair. Kim Yun's intent is filled with embarrassment, guilt, and worry. And Kang Min-hee, she leans her shoulders against the back of the chair. Then, she suddenly starts to smile with satisfaction. Really? I finally feel relieved. Are you okay? Kim Yun, looking pale, asks. Kang Min-hee smiles and says, yeah, I'm fine, Yuna. Didn't I tell you? We were just dating for fun, and there are no real feelings between us. Didn't you notice that I'd been supporting you two from behind since we were at the company? But still, rather, how did that dumbass figure out your feelings? That's what I'm more curious about. Really, Do you know how frustrated I was while we were at the company? It felt like I swallowed 10 sweet potatoes at once. Now it finally feels like they're going down. It's like the food that wouldn't digest before is finally settling down. Yuni. As Kang Min-hee continues, Kim Yun's intent grows more complicated. I'm really fine. Really. I've already made a lot of friends here, and I'm always surrounded by people, so I'm not lonely. I told you at the beginning. I'm not fated to be with a man. So, congratulations, Yana. And if that dumbass makes things hard for you or does something stupid, tell me. I'll refine him into a ghost king for you to control easily. Ah, that's okay. I know how to make puppets myself. Ha. That's impressive, you know. Shiver. I desperately control my intent, ensuring it doesn't flow between the two. How much did the two laugh and talk? As dawn approaches, both of them eventually sigh. It's almost time to part. Yeah, it's a shame. Let's meet again when we have time. When will you be able to meet next? Actually, it might be hard to meet again on any other day than today. I usually have to cultivate in the side path. So, I'll probably stay in Black Ghost Valley for a year or two before going back. The side path, isn't it hard? It's not that hard. I have a lot of friends there. You'd be surprised if you knew. That's a bit of a relief then. Yeah, no need to worry, okay? However, Kim Yun can't erase her worried intent as she looks at Kang Min-hee. Yuni, I have to start going soon, but can I say one last thing? What is it? If you still have feelings for Eunhyun Appa, I can give up. Everyone knows you two got along well at the company. So please tell me. I had a good relationship with her. I had a good relationship with him? Kang Min-hee asks incredulously. It seems like Yun is misunderstanding something. We were more like frenemies, meaning we couldn't entirely hate each other privately. Publicly, we clashed openly, and even privately, we bickered a lot. How can she think of our relationship like that? I always fought with him when we met. Really? To me, it looked more like childhood friends playfully teasing each other. Oh dear, maybe it's because I only shared the playful stories with you. Yuni, if you really have feelings for him, please tell me. Kang Min-hee frowns, seemingly annoyed. Hey, Kim Yun, why are you acting like this? I told you I don't have any feelings. It was just a joke. Neither of us took it seriously, so why are you making a fuss? Stop it already. I genuinely support you too, so you don't need to worry. The intent of genuinely supporting is true. However, Kim Yun suppresses her feeling of pity. Okay, I understand. Right? I've been congratulating you since earlier, so I don't know why you keep acting like this. Anyway, didn't you say you have a favor to ask? By now, the sun has fully risen, and the energy of cold marsh has subsided. Kim Yun tells Kang Min-hee about John Myung-hoon and the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect who had gone to the Nether Ghost realm. Hearing this, Kang Min-hee exclaims in surprise. John Myung-hoon. Other than being flirtatious, he's grown so much. Well, it's been almost 100 years. If he was still the same as back then, he'd just be an idiot. Well, anyway, you're asking me to let John Myung-hoon use the side path, right? Yes. Well, it's possible. That bastard won't try to hit on me again, will he? Probably not. Section Chief, he's matured a lot. Yeah, he should have matured sooner. Kang Min-hee clicks her tongue and nods. Okay, I'll let him use it. But, she says with a serious expression, to enter the side path, he must follow my words, and he can't refuse my commands under any circumstances. Did you say John Myung-hoon is at the heavenly being stage and at the great perfection at that? Yes. According to Eunhyun Appa, he can reach the 4-axis stage with enough time. Then it won't work. If Co Eunhyun, you, or any other companions accompany him, I can't allow it. Last time, the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect who passed through the side path were at most at the nascent soul stage, with most at the core formation stage, so I allowed them to go together. But if a heavenly being at the great perfection tries to enter, the size of their soul alone would create a large burden, to the point that the side path could collapse if he has companions. Yes, I will let him know. Oh, this. I feel regret knowing that I can't accompany John Myung-hoon. I also have an attachment to the disciples of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, and am curious about the secrets of the Nether Ghost realm. It was also an opportunity to build the longevity axis. I'll have to wait for the next opportunity. It's unfortunate for John Myung-hoon as well. At least if he could take Yun-jin, he could get advice from Yun-wei. As an experienced person who went to the Nether Ghost realm, Yun-wei would have provided much help to John Myung-hoon. I know it. Given this situation, we should ask Yun-wei directly. While listening to their conversation through Co Lee, I leave Heavenly Human Island and head for Thunder Spirit Island. On Thunder Spirit Island, above the remains of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect, John Myung-hoon is floating and gazing over the landscape, while Yun-jin is diligently training on a nearby peak. John Myung-hoon, Yun-jin, come here. I have something to discuss. What? If you're going to the Nether Ghost realm, it's best to ask Yun-wei, who's experienced there. Yun-jin, can you contact Yun-wei? Yes, I'll contact the ancestor. Shortly after, Yun Jin, who had been sitting as if communicating with something, twitches and then opens his eyes. Whoom. His gaze has changed. It's Yunwei. It's been a while since you've called me. Do you have something to ask this old person? Well, besides how you are, we want to inquire about the Nether Ghost Realm. I, of course, am doing very well. Recently, I've taken in some cute disciples, and I'm enjoying doting on them. I'm also planning a conquest of the Head Realm. I have a lot to do, and it's really great. Yunwei rambles a bit about how well she's doing before asking back. By the way, you said you wanted to ask about the Nether Ghost Realm? Yes. Do you know anything about it? The Nether Ghost Realm, it's a gloomy place. Yet it is also thriving. For a while, information about the Nether Ghost Realm flows from Yunwei's mouth. John Myung-hoon and I absorb the information about the Nether Ghost Realm into our minds. After finishing her words, Yunwei adds one more thing. By the way, this information is about 43,000 years old, so it might not be accurate. Just keep that in mind. Understood. That's good enough for now. However, there's one more thing I'd like to ask. What is it? I ask seriously. Han One's weakness. Oh, the beginning of this life. From the very first day, I had to struggle in a chase with Han One. If caught, it would have been straight on to the next life, so I had to fight with all my might. But knowing Han One's weakness from the start would have made it no problem at all. Yunwei appears to ponder for a moment. Weakness? Originally, there was no such thing as a weakness for that guy. In fact, as long as he's in Heaven Earth Palace, he has no weaknesses. He's practically invincible within the same realm. I can't help but gasp at that statement. Is that even possible? If that's the case, one must face Han One outside Heaven Earth Place to have a chance. No. Didn't you manage to inflict a fatal wound on Han One by targeting his weakness, causing him to be trapped in the Heaven Earth Palace? Weakness, huh? I just fought well because I know his great mountain-splitting emperor technique well. The sacred object of the Een Soul Ghost sect that I borrowed played a role too. I sacrificed the sacred object and one of my own axes to deal a fatal blow to him. He never really had a weakness. Wait, if it's a borrowed sacred object, are you allowed to sacrifice it? It's fine because I borrowed it secretly. Isn't secretly borrowed the same as stolen? I suddenly have a question and ask her. By the way, Senior said you know the great mountain-splitting emperor technique well. Did you learn it while fighting Han One? No, I learned it directly from Han One. Did you think we just growled at each other feeling fatefully incompatible from the start? Until that day 43,000 years ago, we were quite close. We were inseparable. What kind of relationship did you have? We were betrothed. I can't hide my shock at Yunwei's words. About 43,000 years ago, I agreed to a political marriage with the Palace Lord of Punlai Palace to elevate the status of the Golden Divine Heavenly Thunder sect. Han One accepted too. We teamed up and almost killed the Black Dragon King, though we spared his life, and he allied with us and the human race. The human race Grand Alliance was immensely grateful to us. I'm speechless at this shocking revelation. My main body is hearing some incredible stories. I feel a headache coming from the sudden flood of information. Eventually, Kang Min-hee and Kim Yun hugged each other and parted ways. Wrapped in a rosy, dull glow, Kim Yun flew far away, and only Kang Min-hee and I still remain at the cold Een Marsh. It was hard to understand, right? Talking in foreign languages. No, it was an honor. Really? I guess so. By the way, Seoli. Yes. Kang Min-hee turns to me and says, isn't it about time you reveal your true identity? Pardon. That combing and shoulder massage. I only taught it to that bastard during the 3 weeks we dated. But you replicated it perfectly. It's strange. I thought it was odd from the start when you kept hiding your face and I couldn't see your soul through death. Whoom. Kang Min-hee's left hand transforms into a dark ghost claw. It's you, isn't it? It really makes me sick. How did you think to follow me here? Well, I expected it. She speaks with a sinister smile. It won't be like on Earth. You're going to die here today. Boom. She swings the ghost claw at me. Die, you damned bastard. Chapter 303, Protection, 5, Kang Min-hee didn't have a father. Join the Discord for chapter updates and important news. Chapter 303, Protection, 5, Kang Min-hee didn't have a father. She was told he had an accident when she was very young. Fortunately, thanks to having a lot of insurance, Kang Min-hee and her mother didn't live a life of scarcity. However, her mother was deeply involved in shamanism. One day, when Kang Min-hee was 7 years old, she fell ill with a severe fever. She couldn't remember the events of that time, but her mother said that she was bedridden for 7 days and nights, tormented by nightmares. Even now, in the picture diary Kang Min-hee wrote when she was 7, the nightmare she had back then remained in it. A giant wearing a black kasaya sat on a lotus flower, looking down at Kang Min-hee's house from the sky. After Kang Min-hee recovered from the fever, her mother took her to a shaman she often visited, General Fairy. Kang Min-hee still remembers the first time she visited the shaman. Ghost. A big ghost has possessed her. I've never seen such a big ghost before. This child has a strong Yin energy that attracts ghosts. The powerful Yin energy is drawing the ghosts in. After exorcising the ghost, she must receive spiritual descent. Startled and almost fainting, the shaman's words made Kang Min-hee's mother cry and agree. Kang Min-hee's opinion didn't matter. And whether it was due to the influence of the ghost said to have possessed her or the aftermath of the fever, she was always frail. She frequently got sick and wasn't good at physical activities. Because of this, Kang Min-hee visited the shaman even more frequently. More precisely, her mother often dragged her there. Every time they visited the shaman would perform strange sacrificial rituals, claiming to exorcise the ghost that had possessed Kang Min-hee. But even as Kang Min-hee entered elementary school, became an upperclassman, and became a middle school student, despite the continuous rituals, the shaman couldn't expel the ghost that was said to possess Kang Min-hee. What's going on? The ghost's power is growing stronger with time. Today, I'll borrow the power of the general to exorcise it. Ask the manager over there for the cost of the ritual. Unbelievable. Such a big ghost exists. Today, I will directly receive the general into my body and manifest him in this world to exorcise it. Manager, calculate the cost of today's ritual. I will stake my life as a shaman to exorcise you, evil spirit. Manager, call the general and the deities of heaven and earth. We are going to hold a grand ritual. Also, inform Min-hee's mother about the cost of the ritual. The shaman, who seemed to call for the manager more often than the general they served, changed their attitude when Kang Min-hee became a high school freshman. A high hike. I understand. Yes, it wasn't a ghost. It wasn't a big ghost that possessed you. You yourself. You were the shadow I saw. You were never human, but a ghost born borrowing a human body. Hi-hik. Wait. If the shadow is you, not a ghost that possessed you, then what's attached to you? The divination clearly showed something was attached. That. General, where are you going? General, don't leave me. Kuruk. The shaman, who had said that a big ghost possessed Kang Min-hee, suddenly started foaming at the mouth and collapsed. And after being taken to the emergency room, the shaman, upon regaining consciousness, lost all their memories and became mentally incapacitated. It was said they only retained the intelligence of a 3-year-old. Kang Min-hee's mother, already doubtful of the shaman's ability to exorcise the ghost supposedly possessing her daughter, finally lost interest in shamanism after such an incident. Instead, she became a Christian and started going to church for prayers, but Kang Min-hee didn't go with her. Instead, she started learning judo. Despite being weak, it didn't matter. She wanted to believe that being born weak had nothing to do with something like a ghost. Even if she was weak, she wanted to become strong. However, it seemed that the shaman's words about a ghost possessing her weren't entirely unfounded. From the moment they stopped visiting the shaman, Kang Min-hee started seeing something like a shadow following her. She didn't tell her mother. If she did, she would be dragged to church as well. Instead, Kang Min-hee exercised even more diligently and focused on her studies. She firmly believed that the black shadow was a psychological issue stemming from anxiety, and she became interested in psychology and neuroscience. However, nothing could shake off the black shadow. At some point, the black shadow gradually became more distinct. Sometimes it took the form of her mother, sometimes an acquaintance, sometimes the shaman, and sometimes it transformed into the father she had never met. As she progressed through high school, the shadow became so distinct that it became hard to differentiate from a person. And one day, the shadow spoke to her. Hello? Kang Min-hee ignored it. And from that day on, strange things began happening around her. They weren't major incidents. Things like frequently getting bird droppings on her, her umbrella disappearing on rainy days, or narrowly avoiding accidents. Strangely, her luck seemed to have taken a turn for the worse. Especially those who were close to her suffered even greater misfortunes. Soon, rumors spread at school, and people started to avoid her. The shadow spoke to her. If you hold a knife in your mouth and look in the mirror at midnight, you'll see your future husband. Let's try it. You'll succeed. You have the talent. Kang Min-hee ignored it. Let's draw the talisman the shaman used. I'll help you draw it. The talisman you draw will be effective. I guarantee it. Aren't you interested in the magical potions witches use? I'll tell you how to make them. Aren't you curious about the power and wisdom contained in the reversed pentagram? Oddly enough, the shadow, which had always whispered occult and sinister knowledge and curses to Kang Min-hee, started to use that power directly. I did it for you. I held a knife in my mouth and looked in the mirror at midnight, and I saw your future husband. Surprisingly, you're not fated to marry. You're meant to be alone. It foretold Kang Min-hee's fate on its own. I drew the talisman for you. Give it to someone you don't like as a gift. It'll be effective. One day, when she woke up, the entire room was covered with talismans made of A4 paper. And you know that boy who said he liked you? I got his hair, put it in a doll, and stabbed it. He won't be able to come to school for 6 months. Watching the shadow grow stronger, clearer, and able to speak like a person, Kang Min-hee finally had to admit it. A ghost was indeed attached to her. And this ghost, no one can match up to you. They don't deserve you. Even you don't realize how amazing you are. Don't worry. I'll keep away anyone who doesn't measure up. I'll make sure they can't get close to you. The ghost scattered misfortune around her to keep anyone from approaching her. Kang Min-hee couldn't make friends. After realizing this, she put up walls to prevent anyone from getting close to her. She always smiled in front of others, but discarded all emotions behind their backs. The people she kept at a distance didn't suffer as much misfortune. Instead, she immersed herself in dramas and movies. The fictional characters in them allowed her to love without bringing misfortune. That's why she dreamed of a secret office romance while watching dramas. Her attitude remained the same until she got a job at a bath products company. Where did it go? At some point, the shadow was no longer visible. She felt like she could fly. The shadow that had always recited ominous prophecies seemed to have been washed away by the soap water produced by the bath products company. I should stay at this company. She felt like she was soaring. A feeling of liberation. Her first job. Superiors who took care of the new employees. And a colleague who subtly looked after her during her first company dinner. Coincidentally, they shared the same commute, and both had a longing for office romance. With everything aligning, including the post-dinner intoxication, she started dating Seo Eun-hyun. At first, it felt like she was flying. But all those thoughts reversed when Seo Eun-hyun spilled coffee. It was coffee that should never have spilled. But when Kang Min-hee saw it, someone pushed Seo Eun-hyun's back. Seo Eun-hyun bumped into Oh Hyun-suk, spilling coffee on his documents. And strangely, the usually good-natured Oh Hyun-suk was particularly enraged that day. As if possessed, he lectured Seo Eun-hyun for 90 minutes after work, during which Kang Min-hee broke out in a cold sweat. It hadn't disappeared. She wasn't freed. It had just been temporarily invisible. The day after Seo Eun-hyun gave her an umbrella and caught a cold, Kang Min-hee made a decision. Before Seo Eun-hyun could come further into her heart, she would drive him away in advance. After that, Kang Min-hee did everything she could to break up with Seo Eun-hyun. She deliberately took him for a drive and smoked cigarettes heavily in the car. When Seo Eun-hyun tried to pour sauce over his food, she overturned it in anger. When Seo Eun-hyun ordered sauce chicken, she insisted on fried. She force-fed Seo Eun-hyun mint chocolate, and so on. Eventually, the two broke up. In her memory, she was the one who suggested the breakup. In fact, she couldn't remember the exact details of the breakup. They babbled nonsensically to each other and somehow ended up parting ways. However, Seo Eun-hyun's misfortune continued. Jeon Myung-hoon kept getting annoyed with Seo Eun-hyun, and Seo Eun-hyun kept wasting away, as if something was wrong with him. So she decided to resign. She went to Seo Eun-hyun, making excuses that weren't really excuses, saying she would resign. Even then, she babbled nonsensically, so she didn't remember the details. But the company president saw her project proposal and raised her salary. And then, she saw the shadow again, next to the president. I stay here. I checked the fortune, and it says staying here will bring a limitless future. She tried to ignore the shadow's words, but it climbed onto Seo Eun-hyun's neck and spoke to her, holding his throat. Stay. The fortune is good. Kang Min-hee had no choice but to stay. At the company, she was always praised, and her promotions came quickly. But she never felt at ease. The shadow always followed her, and the thought that she could never escape it made her feel suffocated. Then, one day, a landslide occurred, and she ended up on Ascension Path. Arriving at the Ascension Path, she noticed something unusual before anyone else. The shadow that had followed her all her life was gone. It was no longer visible, and after being kidnapped to Black Ghost Valley, she began to learn the Ghost Path method. She guessed that her shadow was a kind of Ghost King, a very powerful Ghost King. At the very least, a Ghost King at the nascent soul stage. So she raised her cultivation realm with all her might, so that she could someday overpower that Ghost King if they ever met again. She truly gave it her all. In this way, she was able to become a Black Grand Elder. On the day she rose to the 4-axis stage, she felt a sense of anticipation, thinking, maybe that Ghost King would never appear again. But then, a disciple named Seo Lee arrived. Seeing Seo Lee for the first time, Kang Min-hee felt a strong sense of déjà vu. She was certain she had seen him somewhere before. Definitely. Since this kind of déjà vu had never been wrong, she believed he was a person she had definitely seen before. No, she used to think he was a person. There was an unusually thick aura of death surrounding Seo Lee. It was something only a ghost could possess, not a human. Moreover, Seo Lee unknowingly acted similarly to Seo Eun-hyun. What is this really? She considered the possibility that Seo Eun-hyun had deliberately sent a clone to Black Ghost Valley. But Seo Eun-hyun wouldn't do that. Why would he secretly send a clone to Black Ghost Valley where she resided? If it were Jeon Myung-hoon or Oh Hyeseo, it might be possible. but Seo Eun-hyun had no reason to do such a thing. Furthermore, Seo Lee would occasionally give her massages or comb her hair in ways she had only taught Seo Eun-hyun. It wasn't Seo Eun-hyun's clone. Then there was only one other possibility. The shadow, the being that had been following her. It had finally reappeared, this time, in the form of a disciple of Black Ghost Valley. It seemed visible to others as well. Therefore, she could not hastily conclude anything. Since the shadow was visible to others, it might not be the shadow she knew. Hence, Kang Min-hee decided to see it directly with her main body. And only after seeing it with the ghost eyes of her main body could Kang Min-hee make a judgment. That is the shadow. The darkness as thick as the shadow. No, even surpassing that shadow. The form of death, as if it had crawled up from the depths of the netherworld. And the subtle aura reminiscent of Seo Eun-hyun. Finally, she could understand. The Seo Lee before her eyes was the wretched shadow that had relentlessly followed her. No, at the very least, it was related to that shadow. After feeling Seo Eun-hyun's touch through the shadow for a while, Kang Min-hee made a decision. In that case, I will kill you and uncover your true identity. It was time to rid herself of the shadow that had been tormenting her.